It's Wednesday. Welcome back to Waste Some Time with Jason Green. I am Jason Green. If you couldn't tell by my name being in the corner of the screen, it's brand recognition, I think. I don't know. Someone said that. You know me, I don't really care too much. We're just here to have a good time. We're not here for a long time, but hopefully it will be a good time. Johnny Monaco will be joining me in just a little bit. And my good friend William Powell from the Sci Fi Center here in Las Vegas is going to stop by to talk about something that's very important to me, an event that I will be taking place in called TROMANIA, which is a film festival and a convention and other things based on the movie company Troma that some of you may know. I spent several years working on. So we're going to talk about a lot of things. Also, I'm so glad that so many of you are watching the terrific tour diaries. I couldn't believe the response. We're over 150,000 views on all the tour diaries together, and people are just couldn't get enough seeing us on the Monsters of Rock cruise. So I thank you. Today was part 5, the final part of that series. Uploads every day. Going to continue with that, but you got to see Michael Schenker and Stephen Piercy send a personal message to Warren DeMartini. If you haven't seen it yet, what are you waiting for? Wait till this is over and then you watch it. So the people seem to be enjoying it. I want to answer some of your questions about it. We'll talk about other things. You know the deal. All that and more right after this. Just wanna waste some time with you. Sometimes it seems too good to be true. Nobody out there to waste time with you. You guys may have noticed that I fell right out of the shower. And here I didn't have time to have my stylist come by and work on my hair. Hopefully that doesn't upset any of you. I am lucky to still have my hair. Excuse me. I shaved my head 3 or 4 times to raise money for children with cancer. The St. Baldrick's Foundation. In fact, I've been knighted by them. Excuse me if I seem snobbish or bragging. But anyway, so I'm lucky to still have my hair. All right, I'm going to look at some of your questions. Then I'm going to bring in Johnny. Then we'll bring in William Powell and all those things. Okay, let's see who's here to get started. Skylar saying enjoy the tour diaries. Thank you so much. Hannah, thank you so much. She's happy to be here for a live. She usually misses them. I'm happy to see women here because this is usually a sausage party. YouTube says in my analytics, besides that they say that I'm a very powerful, wealthy, and successful man, which is not completely true. They say that only men watch this. Okay, so thank you, Hannah. And there is Brian. Thank you so much. A lot of people enjoying the cruise diaries, and we'll do a lot more. There's Eric. Thank you so much. Eric Gare, drums, that is. Dave Balls is here. Nice to see you, Dave. Dave's been on the show. Nick is here. And Michael talking about the peeling, which I will show you my arms. It's a little rough. Thank you so much. I'm glad you guys are here. Toxic Avenger Boxset is definitely a must. Was watching the other show, but we'll always defer to the original show. Like, subscribe, join Patreon, and become a member. Thank you so much. So what I wanted to point out to everybody is, you know, somebody was saying, somebody told me there was a post on one of these insignificant websites that said, that Jason Green's always looking for money, and which is possibly partly true. But what, you know, this day and age, I don't ask anyone to contribute. Maybe I do. But the point is, if you have it and you want to support the channel, that's a great thing. But if you don't have it, watch videos and like and all those things. That helps too. Some people are in different positions. I like 69, but that's not for everybody. Some people like 73 or 57. I've heard a few people say they like an 81.5. That is your business. I don't judge. So anyway, but if you want to become a Patreon, if you're already a Patreon, I'm going to send you the cruise guitar picks because everyone seemed to like the cruise videos. So these were made just to give out to people on the cruise. Gave these away, even though most of you think I'm after money. And I'm going to give them away to everybody who signed up for Patreon. I don't have that many left. Whatever didn't go. So as they say, while supplies last. But I'm going to sit down and address the envelopes and lick the stamps and all those things to make sure you get them. I know some people are concerned. They think you sign up and then the next day, boom, it shows up at your door. But I wish I had a team of elves that helped me with that. If I had that, maybe they could help me with this chair that creaks all the time. Gonna need a new chair. Johnny knows people though. He's had 37 desks, so maybe he can help me find the right chair. And as you know, Johnny did change his bed on the cruise. So not only has he exchanged 5 or 6 beds at home, he did at least two that I know of on the cruise. A lot to get to today, and also thank you to the channel members. I want to talk about this thing called Whatnot for just a second. They are a sponsor, but it's also something that I like, and I'm going to show this to you. We're going to go to the Whatnot site right now. They do live auctions. You can get memorabilia, you can get toys, you can get whatever you like. So I'm on the page now. I'm going into the auctions for a company called OC Celebrity Marketing. I'm doing this because I like it, not just because there's no. I'm not getting a kickback for this. But I don't know how to turn the volume down. Let's see if I just do this. Okay, so it's much easier to get the app. So
Candles and gas station flowers.
Hot chicks here.
I didn't get any flowers.
And we're on auction.
That would have been nice.
And we will do this in a minute. Everything starts at $1. Which
Harry's a lot, and he probably
in case you guys are interested. At Jason Green's always asking me money.
Did you eat bread on your date?
You sign up. If you sign up and get an account, they're going to give you $15 for free.
Oh, there you go.
It was cheap. I'm letting you in on some secrets. So you go in, you check out the hot chick, and they'll sell you things. And I will be honest, I bought a lot of memorabilia for my own collection. I have quite the collection. So this is your way of getting for free. This Jason Green doesn't give you anything besides STDs. Now you can participate.
All right,
let's see. Now they've got sports. They usually do movies and stuff. That looks like it's a Dodger, Adrian Gonzalez. But anyway, the auctions happen every 30 seconds, and so I'm turning on to something that I think you would like because I like it and I use it, and so and I'm giving you $15 for free. So anyway, this is Whatnot. And we look around a little bit. Again, these are my favorites because they deal in movies and memorabilia and things. But you can see, you go to the front of the site, and all of these people are running live auctions right now. And we can go into any of their rooms. This is a Funko Pop one. And you click on it, and the next thing you know, you're in, and you're bidding, and these people have giveaways and contests, and it's pretty fun. So
who's taking it home?
I'll be honest with you, they've been
King John Carr's taking it home so far.
And I always forget to show you this. So it's easy.
7 seconds, taking it home.
$15. There's a ton of people.
3 seconds, like 3, 2, 1. Pablo with the snipe.
And I do want to mention that it is very addictive. So you've been warned. Okay, let's get to business. We got that out of the way. Links in the description. So tour diaries are up. I want to talk a little bit about my guest who's coming on, and Johnny Monaco will be here shortly. When I was a young man, I wanted to be an actor. I wanted to be a baseball player. I wasn't very good at it. I wanted to be a musician. I've accomplished that. I have an album. I'm not very good at that either. But I decided I wanted to be an actor. I'm okay at that. And I went to audition I had an agency in New York City, and they sent me to audition for a movie company called Troma. Troma is the makers of The Toxic Avenger, The Class of Nukem High, and Surf Nazis Must Die. Classic movies. Some people call them B. I think they're better than most A's. I'm a fan of C's, but sometimes B's are okay too. So anyway, I went to work there. I worked on a movie called Sergeant Kabuki Man NYPD. I had such an amazing time with Troma and meeting Lloyd Kaufman that I was hired to play that character. If you don't know Troma, this might sound crazy, but Sergeant Kabuki Man was the first accidental Oriental crime-fighting superhero, and I would play that character all around the world. Cannes Film Festival several times, and I don't know, I went everywhere, and it was all thanks to Lloyd Kaufman and Troma. I wrote a draft of a movie called Romeo and Juliet. I wrote that And then a guy named James Gunn came in. And I thought, boy, this guy sucks. It shows I didn't know anything. I also thought Jason Blum sucked. And they're two of the biggest people in all of Hollywood. I did know that Johnny Monaco was the premier lead guitar player. That much I got right. I'm better at picking musicians, apparently, than movies. But I see a few people here, and RK signed up for what I'm telling you, you're going to like it. It's just addictive. Chris enjoys Troma movies. Bill Shapiro likes Rapid Grannies. I'm going to bring Johnny in a second. I'm sure Johnny watches a thing called Svengoolie every week. It's based out of Illinois. I like it too. Johnny likes it. I like it too. And they show monster movies. It's sort of an Elvira theme. They have a host, and he has a rubber chicken, and they show movies. Last week's movie was Blackula. What a classic. And I love it. When I was a kid, they had a channel called WPIX, Channel 11. When I was a kid back in the 20s, the TV dial went from 2 to 13, and then it went to letters, A, B, C. I know this sounds crazy. So Burger King had a deal. They'd have a monster night, and they showed The Creature from the Black Lagoon, which I later became obsessed with. You can see the creature back there. And you had to go to Burger King to get your 3D glasses to watch. The 3D was terrible. One eye was red, one eye was blue. And but anyway, I fell in love with horror movies. And I had a cousin who was a little older than me who also worked with Troma for a little while. And I really loved those movies. And as I said, this weekend, TROMANIA is happening at the Sci Fi Center. It's going to be an outdoor festival. They're going to show Troma movies. I will be introducing the president and CEO and the creator of The Toxic Avenger, Lloyd Kaufman. He's been on the show on the first night. And on the second night, I will be moderating a Q&A with Lloyd, and you're all welcome to come. I'll get a link to the tickets. I believe it's in the description. And so if you're here in Vegas and you want to have a good time and see some great movies, I know they're going to show Romeo and Juliet. I'm in that movie as Kabuki Man, and I co-wrote a draft or whatever the hell they call it. And they're going to show The Toxic Avenger with live commentary from Lloyd Kaufman. You're going to find out all kinds of secrets. Marissa Tomei was in The Toxic Avenger. You're going to find out. Anyway, let's bring Johnny in because everybody has been watching these tour diaries, and they've got questions for Johnny. And well, here's Johnny. But hi, Johnny.
Hi. How's it going?
Hold on, I turn my volume up. I apologize. Last week on the show, we were going to do a recap of the cruise.
Mm-hmm.
We'll get back to Troma when William gets here, but we were doing a recap. We were going to tell our tales of the cruise. Suddenly, there was a knock on the door. Johnny's never had a knock on his door. I thought maybe this was an elaborate work. Maybe Johnny was putting together what the kids call a shtick. A woman was at the door. Her name was Vanessa. She was an enchanting woman of the Latina persuasion. And Johnny, within 1 minute, she was in Johnny's bathroom, and Johnny was holding a camera. That's all I can really get out of it. Her parents obviously never told her not to talk to strangers. And I'm not saying that Johnny is a serial killer. Obviously, he's not. But he does fit a lot of the descriptions. So people went crazy. It stole the show. Vanessa is now the biggest star in podcast history. Johnny, so people want to know, have you guys seen each other since the show?
Yeah, she came down here, gave me some more updates. And
what did she give you?
Some updates.
I think you said warm dates. I was like, what?
She gave me some updates on what's happening with the process. And she texted me a few times. I texted her back.
She is a go-getter, Johnny Monaco.
She's good. She's done more in 2 days than these idiots over here have done in 6 months when I told them about it the first time in October.
The two of you could be, excuse me, the two of you could be the king and queen of the building. You guys could overthrow the government, so to speak.
No, there's already a king and queen of this building, and those guys live upstairs.
Mm-hmm. All right, let's see. I'm sure people are already. Joe in Seattle says that this chick could complete you, Johnny. And that might be true.
Well, right, as of now, they still have. There's a hole in her wall because they found out where the situation is. They had to fix, and they fixed it, and now they're seeing if it's still going to leak over the next week. And if it's done, then they test the wall and then they close it up. I guarantee no one will come down here and do anything, and I'll have to just deal with this. But I rent it. I don't care.
Yeah, a lot of love for Vanessa. She stole the show. She doesn't even know how famous she is.
I told her she got it all. She's the one who got it done.
Chris is concerned or wants to know if she fell through the ceiling yet.
No. She's nice. I mean, she's a professional person,
Well,
got places
not
to go.
that kind of professional, Johnny.
She's got things.
Uh-oh. And there it is. That's all we're going to get. Johnny got a call. Is that Vanessa, Johnny?
No.
Oh, son of a bitch.
No one listens.
A lot of people here. Bill Shapiro would like to know if that was Vanessa Del Rio.
No, I don't know if that. I don't know her last name.
You don't know Vanessa Del Rio, Johnny?
No, who's that?
So Vanessa Del Rio was a Puerto Rican adult film star.
No, it's not her.
She was from the 1980s. Vanessa looked a little younger. Vanessa Del Rio had massive accomplishments, and you can Google her. And she was from Brooklyn, I believe, or the Bronx. I met her and talked to her a few times. She was known for having a part of her body that was incredibly large, that most people wouldn't associate. I have to be careful with my language, but it was a part of her body that would become engorged and was larger than most other people's areas. If you know, you know. So no, but that was not Vanessa Del Rio. Please, you guys. Johnny is met a nice person. Yeah. Dave Balls says maybe it's time for you to ask her out, Johnny.
Asking anybody out.
Did you play guitar for her? Good question.
No, I didn't.
What does the singer for Burning Witches think of this?
We don't talk.
Bullshit. Well, her name, by the way, is Laura Guldemond. I didn't know her last name. If you watch the Tour Diaries, you pretty much saw her butthole, though.
Wow.
If you freeze frame it at the right point, you see stuff. And most people enjoyed her oiling, and because she does oil herself.
I mean, at first I didn't know what you were talking about because it's like a sea of, seals and sea otters on that boat. And then I just seen her, rolling into another position, and I caught a little clips.
Yeah. Well, Johnny, I want to continue with this, but I have to. This Joe is just in. Obviously, that Jason Green's always looking for money. Joe in Seattle. Will Johnny rename his album? He said he found his soulmate. That would ruin everything.
No. I mean, I need about a week. I just gotta, finish it.
Chris wants to let you know that the thong shots are worth a look. I tend to agree. Siegel Rock says Germans aren't shy. The only German here is me. She is from Switzerland.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's very neutral. Yeah.
Yeah.
Freeze framed it. Rick Sanchez.
Yeah, you can freeze frame it if you like. The Tour Diaries are incredibly popular, Johnny. 5 of them. One came out every day. Record-breaking views. Now, Johnny, you say you have not seen any of them. Is that correct?
Yep.
What's interesting is maybe Johnny's finishing up all the Enough's Enough videos he still watches and is angry about.
I'm not watching any of them. I'm not letting anybody get to me or influence me, except for In-N-Out. I might be very enthralled with their the restaurant.
Johnny, did you have an incident with In-N-Out?
There was an incident.
Were you given perks?
I have received 2 gift cards. They're very professional over there. They have it together. You know who doesn't have it together?
At the outhouse.
Outback.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, not so much. They're so used to dealing with just like whites that they just like, let it slide. But I think In-N-Out really has it together. We had a nice conversation. I explained what happened. It wasn't a big deal. I just wanted to clear it up so I knew how to use my gift card. And they said it was, they take responsibility, unlike most people who don't take responsibility for anything.
I explained to Johnny earlier that In-N-Out is a religious-based company. They do have religious messages underneath their cups, much like Striper, and they handle their shit. They're organized. I like In-N-Out. I actually don't eat there very often, but I like that they have things numbered. Even the dumbest person couldn't screw that up. They do. But so Johnny, you had a little bit of an issue. You went for higher power, if you will, and were rewarded with a few free dinners.
Yeah, but I still think it's really bad. You can't be eating that stuff all the time.
Right.
I had indigestion the next day, but I think it was from the shake. So no more shakes.
No, you never want to get the shakes. That's the hardest part of withdrawal. Mark Sanchez says, and thank you so much for the super chat. Do you guys like sandals or didn't take them on the boat? This is a good question to some. It's an obvious one to me. Johnny, do you wear sandals?
No, I don't like that feeling between the toes like that.
No. I would not wear anything like that. There's a lot of reasons. One, if you have to run from Labadians or Haitians or criminals or any, that's not good. You can't run. They feel awkward. They're bad for your feet because they flip and they flop, as the title says. And growing up in New York City, I didn't even want to wear shorts. That's something I didn't do until I got to Vegas. So no, I don't believe in it. But that is a good question, and I appreciate you spending your $4.99 to hear the answer. I want to get to as many people as I can. Johnny, there's a new moron in the chat. His name is Daddy Goth.
Yeah, it's always the same person, just changing the name. There's not that many people. Yeah, there's not that many people that would be that like bent on coming here and insulting people or trying to be funny when they're not. Or just,
I think there's a lot of idiots out there, Johnny. If you looked at some of the people who call themselves comedians, there's more than one that aren't funny. So I'm not sure. This guy here, 3 Pistols, he's already blocked Daddy Goth.
it's just the same person, and they're going to just sign up under another name. That's the type of person. It's like a little bit of a sociopath, but an unfunny one, a stupid, dummy, piece of shit, garbage.
The audience wants to block him. I like to leave it up to my members and my subscribers and my audience. If you guys have had enough of him, we'll block him.
I think it's best to leave those people up just so they can proclaim their stupidity to the other people.
I agree, Johnny. I agree. But I want to make the audience, I do what the audience likes. So a lot of new people here, Johnny, as well. And despite YouTube saying this is your sausage party, Hannah is here and 80s Girl is here. I believe they are both really women. Some people saying Jason does not, says block him. Rockefeller says he is definitely no Don Jameson. Well, a lot of people saying block him. Let's see what he has to offer to this conversation. I promise you, it will be stupid. So, Johnny, there's 5 of these tour diaries. They're out. Johnny's going to binge watch. Johnny's one of those guys who likes to watch all his Netflix at the same time, or not. He was there. He knows what happened. I tell you though, I edited them. I watched them, and I forgot. Michelle's here. Speaking of women, and Michelle is all for blocking him. So,
what is? I don't know what he. Because a lot of people, like in the comments, there keep saying, like, I've heard this all the time. He's angry, he's mean, and then when I don't do that, then it's like, what's wrong with him? He's so like withdrawn. First of all, I don't think it's being angry or mean. We're just talking about things, and then I react to them maybe differently than some people would do. Don't you? I mean, right?
Well, Johnny's referring to the comments that came out this morning to the video. A lot of them said that Johnny is very angry and that he never smiles. And I think that these people are ridiculous. If you don't see the humor in Johnny or the character in Johnny, then you're not getting it, which is fine. It's not for everybody. So, and Hannah points out that Johnny has dry humor. Johnny, what do you got there? Oh, Jesus, Johnny. What's that? Are you going to do an unboxing?
I don't know what this is. This is a box from something that I bought. I think I'm returning. Oh, I bought this little iRig device where you plug your guitar into your phone and be able to practice,
That's right. I suggested that to you.
Yeah, useless. I just took it back.
Oh, sorry, Johnny.
Just feeding back and screaming and doing some kind of like microphonic like hissing. And I did some research, and I guess other people had the same problem. I tried to. They didn't know what to do. Some people it worked for, some people it doesn't. I did everything it said. I couldn't figure it out, so I just got tired of dealing with it. So I took it back.
Yeah. 80s Girl is a fellow Monster of Rock cruiser. She missed out on the last one, but she's binging the segment this morning. She loved both of us, which is very nice. Thank you so much. Everyone took the cruise videos in a different way. Some people thought we were jaded and we weren't having fun. And well, first of all, we were there to work, for the most part. And even though it looks like we were able to do what we want, a lot of it was work. I will also say that John and I did more than the video show, but also we went and saw more bands than most people on the boat. And actually, we saw a lot of new bands. And Johnny and I enjoyed them. You think we're old and jaded, but we went and we watched The Reckless Love, and we enjoyed it. We thought that some of the songs were similar to the songs that had already been written in the 80s, but that's okay. The young people like it.
Oh, we did a lot. My steps were like 4,000, 5,000 for the one day. So anyone who thinks that, they're just jaded and mean, picking out stuff and finding the negative in it, that's not true. We're out there looking at everything, and it's exhausting to walk around like that for 3 days. Even though you may not think it, I have the steps to prove it. So shut the fuck up.
5 days.
Yeah. And we also ran into our friend, our new friend, the photographer, Christopher Carroll, who's on here. He's watching right now.
Oh, good. I like Christopher. He was very nice.
He was so nice to us, and he's cool. And he kept buying me, I think they were whiskeys or something like that. And
you never purchased your own cocktail.
Well, they have the thing where you buy the package. So you're kind of giving someone a drink, but you already paid for the package. So whether you give it to them or not, it's like when you get regifted from a friend. They give you a gift, it's still a gift, but they didn't pay for it. But I mean, he started it, but it was nice enough that he did that. And he was always like ready right there. You need a drink, at 2:00 in the afternoon. I'm like, I guess I do.
Johnny,
you're tired.
Yeah. Jeff points out washy.
Mm-hmm.
Dr. Paul points out that many people discovered what the rest of us already knew. You want the Thorne family living next to you. We had an incredible time with the Thornes of Burbank. They are a great couple. Matt is a great guy, and they took us out and they bought us coconuts with rum in them, and it was great.
It's great, yeah. They're super nice people. I was actually thinking about, do you think there'd be a way I could talk them into like letting me live there with them? Like I could have
a guest house.
I could have like some form of something to do, like a job of some sorts around the house. And like Cato, then I would just live back. Because I mean, they got a prime location, and they're going to bed early, and he's got a studio there. I think it's a win-win.
Yeah, I think so too. We should
bring that up. Bring that up to Steven.
I don't think they watch this shit, but
no, they do. They said they liked it. They think it's funny.
Oh, good. Well, I think they might watch the replays and things, but anyway, they're great people. A lot of people still can't get washy out of their head. A lot of people enjoyed Michael Schenker, and why wouldn't you? He's great. Someone says that Eddie Trunk just gave us a shout out. Don't really know what that means. But Ed, if you'd like to clarify, I'd love to know how Eddie Trunk shouted us out. We did include Eddie Trunk in the video. I like Eddie Trunk. I tell you, though, that it's good to have an alternative to Eddie Trunk. Having one person be the rock and roll monopoly isn't always the best thing. Keith is saying that he didn't know Ronnie Romero was in Shanker's band. Ronnie Romero is incredible. That's the singer that they had, Johnny.
Okay, yeah, he was really good.
He's really good. He was in Rainbow before that. I reached out to him about being on the show. A few more program notes, and then I'll get back to the comments. Is that tomorrow morning I'm interviewing the band Shiraz Lane, that what Johnny and I saw, and we were impressed, and so were a lot of other musicians. I remember the guys at Winger were out there. The drummer was really good. I remember the drummer stood out. Kind of played like a Dave Grohl when he was in the Nirvana, but heavy. He like meets Tommy Lee. He was a good-looking kid. I went and listened to a bunch of their songs. They're very good. They're Finnish. And so Shiraz Lane, I'm going to interview them tomorrow. And then tomorrow night, after that, I'm going to interview Wednesday 13. He was in a band called the Murder Dolls. Then the following week, Audie Desborough from Great White. Steve Brown, which is the brother of Mick Brown. He's the drummer for Tesla. He's going to be here. Dave Root of Tesla is going to be here. Niels Lozauer, world-renowned photographer, is going to be. There are so many interviews coming that this is the best time for you guys to be in on this channel. Stacy Q interview. What in the world happened to Stacy Q? 2 of Hearts. You'll find out Friday. And Richie Ramone of the Ramones. I could sit here and plug all day. William likes Queensryche. He's asked me about Queensryche. Not for me, guys. Jeff Tate or bust. I will say that unfortunately that Todd LaTorre was very nice. And I hate when people are very nice and then I say that I don't like what they do. Someone told me they played almost 10 new songs and 3 hits. I think that's a poor move. What happened to the Stephen Sweet interview? He stopped responding. He's ghosting me. So I don't know what to tell you. What about a Lizzie Borden interview? That could happen. Hold on, I don't know where that. He lives here in Las Vegas. Adrian Vandenberg is coming soon as well, just so you know. Johnny and I had a nice talk with him. Oh, hold on. William's going to be here in just a minute. I want to get to everybody. Kevin, the cruise looked awesome. I wish I could go, but I'm scared of the sea. My luck, the boat would sink. Your luck, if the boat would have sank, the whole music industry would have been shaken up. But anyway, we're going to get to William Powell in just a second. He's got us. He's getting ready, and we're going to talk to him. Johnny's met him before as well. So, William, if you can hear me, we're going to bring you in just a second, and then of course, and yes, people say that Johnny does a great Jeff Tate. He does. If you want to go on Johnny's YouTube page, look up Queen of the Reich and see Johnny sing it. He would have been good. A lot of people talking about the upside down pineapple. If you're on a cruise and you see an upside down pineapple on the door, that means there's a couple there who are willing to swing. Yes, Audie Desborough will be here. Audie and I went to see Michael Schenker together, and I've known him for a long time. And I said, you know what? You're one of the guys in Great White that hasn't talked so much. And he said the publicist usually refers Mark. Mark's the oldest member, the longest, I should say. So anyway, yes, you guys will enjoy it. Okay, I want to bring William Powell in just for a minute. So as I was saying, this weekend is the TROMANIA Festival. It's a film festival. It's a meet and greet. It's a convention. It's everything. And it's at the Sci Fi Center here in Las Vegas. The Sci Fi Center is located right over Get a Haircut, where Johnny cut my hair. And you've seen that on the show. They call that New Orleans Square. They have a lot of cool shops there, horror movie stores and collectibles, and there's some great restaurants. And they're building a bit of a community. I like to think of William as sort of being the mayor of that community. He kind of keeps everybody together, and he's been there for quite some time. So he is a real expert on movies, and he does so much for the community here in Las Vegas, sending people to screenings, giving things away. He has his own YouTube show as well. And so let's bring William in. We're going to talk just a little about this weekend's event. How are you, William?
Hey, how you doing, Jason?
Good to see you. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me, dude.
So one of the things I want to talk about a little about yourself before we get into the event, William. You, where does your love of movies and the idea to open a sci-fi center come from?
Well, I grew up with the movie portion of it, but as far as the Sci-Fi Center itself goes, it started out as a comic book store back in '95, and it was called Asylum Comics. It was about 700 square feet. It was right where the Spring Mountain and Jones, where the Mountain View Plaza Theater used to be. And that's where I opened up what was a back office of one of their theaters, and that's where it all started back. I think I was 18 or 19. I'm not sure. But then I just kind of like as it evolved, and I needed places to do certain things, and a lot of our stuff was just not what places would lend their space to. So we just decided to build our own space for the most part, so that we wouldn't have that barrier anymore.
Yeah, and I should point out that, William, you were a veteran as well, and thank you for serving your country.
Thank you.
And it was after that time that you really got into the business end of things, right?
Yeah. After I got back from my deployment, we really kicked it into high gear. We started renting bigger spaces, and this was before Netflix and everything went out. So we would show basically every type of horror or science fiction movie, that was out there, whatever format that it was in. And then we had our original space that was in the commercial center that had a elevated seating, giant screen, the whole deal. And then we did that for a couple of years. And like I said, we would show things from all over the world that you really just couldn't get. And with streaming, it kind of like put a complete end to that, but it wasn't as prolific as it was before.
Yeah, the theater was always a good part of what you did, that people could come and watch movies. On Halloween, you could come and see some movies that maybe horror movies that you didn't see every day, or all kinds of different things. Also, you would do weekly things, like people would come and watch Game of Thrones on the big screen. Not everybody had a subscription, so it was a place that you could build a community. I point out my punk band played there, and William's always up to do fun events. We played an acoustic show, followed by a screening of the movie Sid and Nancy on the big screen. And I really became aware of you because you would have these Troma festivals and show these Troma movies that not everybody shows. And there is a big cult audience for it, an audience that gets younger and younger all the time.
Yeah, it's a niche following, but a lot of people dismiss it. They dismiss independent film in general, but they for some reason they find extra energy to dismiss Troma for some reason. So at the time we started it, there wasn't anybody in Vegas that was showing anything Troma, period, at all. So it was we were one of the first ones to do it, and then we met up with a lot of people who knew Lloyd Kaufman directly, and so when he would come out here for AVN, we would have him out. But in general, we've shown a lot of Troma films. Most of them that in the catalog over the past 20 some odd years.
Yeah, it's funny you mentioned AVN, which is the adult convention, but Troma, they represented Troma, this company called Bad Monster. I think that's what it's called. They made toys, if you will, that are shaped like tentacles and monsters, and all these young hot chicks are buying up these things. And so Troma, they stand for kind of things like that. They were at the convention, and then Lloyd would come by and show movies at the Sci Fi Center. Exchange locations a couple of times now in New Orleans Square. But so Lloyd was a mentor to me. He's one of the most knowledgeable people in the movie industry. The funny thing is, he would like you to believe that he's this little broke guy and the company's struggling. And yes, it is hard. Troma is the longest running independent cinema in history. But I would go to the Cannes Film Festival with Lloyd, and he would be hanging out with Sherry Lanzig, who was once the most powerful woman in Hollywood. She owned Paramount, or was the boss of Paramount. And we'd go to cocktails with Ridley Scott. So Lloyd and Roger Corman and these types. So Lloyd is very respected in the industry. He started his career working on the movie Rocky. He was the locations director. He also worked on Saturday Night Fever, two of my favorite movies of all time. Whenever I can, I try to get him to tell me some of those stories. So Lloyd's had quite the background. They began making sort of B movies when I was a kid, the sex type movies, kind of Porky's type movies. Squeeze Play is the first one that comes to mind, about a women's softball league. I used to have to turn the volume on very quiet to try to see nudity without waking my parents. I'm still doing that. I don't even live with my parents, but it's engraved in my mind. I'm kind of like Norman Bates, I guess. But so, and then the people said horror movies are dead. And Lloyd Kaufman said, well, then I'm going to make a horror movie. And he made a movie called The Toxic Avenger in 1983. Johnny, have you seen The Toxic Avenger?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's really one of the greats of all time. It is completely politically incorrect, but it's a great monster movie, a great superhero movie.
Yeah.
And for a movie that was made with no budget, it spawned and incredible sequels, but also a thing called The Toxic Crusader, a kids-friendly version. And then later, so there was cartoons and video games and sneakers. And then later, a Broadway musical, I think off Broadway, but David Bryan of Bon Jovi conducted he wrote the theme. So there was all of those aspects of Troma that were getting bigger and bigger. And when I went to work for them, it was pretty a cult following. The movie Romeo and Juliet, I wrote a draft of it, and I wasn't really good at it. I didn't really quite get what Lloyd wanted. He showed me a writing sample from a guy named James Gunn, who is now probably one of the most powerful men in Hollywood. And I thought it was terrible. Lloyd saw something in him. I went to the Cannes Film Festival, and James finished that movie, and obviously look where he is now. Guardians of the Galaxy 3 out right now. Lloyd Kaufman does have a cameo. Spoiler alert if anyone hasn't seen it. So I love Troma. I love B movies. I love horror movies. I love alternative movies. And so it's so great. It's also a lost art to see these movies on a screen. And William, I'm so glad that you keep that alive. Most kids aren't going to ever see one of those kind of movies on a big screen with other people laughing, drinking, maybe smoking a substance or two, right?
It is a lost art. But if you look at a lot of the major people that are currently making movies, they got their start in low budget stuff. That before YouTube, before any of these other outlets were there, you had to start up through things like this. And so it is a lost art. I don't know if it'll come back again because you have YouTube, because you have, anybody can pick up a phone and pretty much make their own movie. It wasn't like that back in the day. You actually had to get equipment, you had to get cameras, you had to get funding, you had to get a lot of different things for this. So in a lot of ways, that is still happening. It's just not in the forefront because it's just not the big flashy thing, but it's still an art form. It's still something that needs to be kept alive, in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree. Joe in Seattle says he liked Troma's War. William showed Troma's War, and I did a Q&A with Lloyd after, and we had such a great time telling the stories. Some of the stories, Lloyd didn't know my end of it, so I had stories to tell that Lloyd didn't know, and he enjoyed sharing them with an audience as well. And after Troma's War, we decided that we would go and do an anniversary tour of Toxic Avenger screenings where I would introduce Lloyd and talk about the movies afterwards. Unfortunately, that pandemic came around and everything was put on hold. So I'm so glad to see Lloyd out there. I'll tell you that working with Lloyd, he often said, I'm 50 years old and I'm going to blow my brains out. He would say that all the time. I'm glad to see he's in his 70s now. And
he's 27 years late on that. Hopefully he stays late on that.
I remember thinking, wow, 50, he's old, and now as 50's not so far away from me, I'm thinking maybe don't take his advice. Chris here says he saw Toxic Avenger in a drive-in. That's another completely lost art.
Yeah, we actually do drive-ins too out in the parking lot. We actually do. We have a 40-foot screen. We do drive-ins every now and then.
Yeah, that's great. William, tell people before we go too far where they can find Sci Fi Center.
You can find us at 900 Liberace Avenue, which used to be Karen Avenue, inside the Historical Commercial Center on the second floor of the New Orleans Square. So if you know where the Q Club is or was, I'm facing, if you look out my window, I face the Q Club. And if you look up to my upper right, you can see the Stratosphere. So that gives you a bit of orientation of where I'm at.
Yeah, and we're going to talk.
I'm in Suite B209.
Yes, okay. And we're going to talk about the event in just a second. But Eric has a question for the three of us, and it's a good question. I think we're going to give different answers. And this is an age-old question. Star Wars or Star Trek? William, we'll start with you. I think you might be the different one here.
Star Trek.
Yeah, for sure, right? You're a Star. You are follow the entire brand, including the new stuff, right?
Yes, I love the new stuff that's on Paramount Plus.
When I worked with Troma, there was a young lady named Tiffany Shepis. She's a beautiful young woman. She's been in a lot of horror movies. She was in the Ted Bundy movie. She's the only woman who survives in the movie. Who got away from Ted, but she's on Picard, and
she's the doctor.
Yeah, and see, and so she's on there, and she's a great person. She's going to be on the show soon. Now, let's see if everyone's being The audience is answering. So, but before I go to the audience, Johnny, do you want to weigh in? Star Trek or Star Wars?
Star Trek.
Johnny went with Star Trek also. Okay, so I'm going to be the different one probably. But Mark says Star Trek. And let's see here. Joe Mannix says Spock rules. He also agrees that William is right. Let's see. And then we have Star Wars. Joe says Star Wars, the original 3. Okay. And then we have a few Spaceballs wild cards in here.
They're kind of different, though. You can't really compare the two. I think.
Yeah, but they're
one's fantasy, one's science fiction. It's really.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I never thought of that, but yeah, totally that.
Someone says Battlestar Galactica, and then we get Star Wars.
I like Battlestar Galactica.
I did too, and then we get some Star Trek, some Star Wars. So this is definitely, and we're getting some Star Wars. It is very different. Michelle, my better half, says Star Trek, so we're gonna. Those are fighting words in my household. I'm going with Star Wars, but I think it's because of the way that Star Wars had an impact on me. Star Wars was the first movie I saw in a movie theater, and I fell for those characters. I did enjoy Star Trek. I watched the reruns at home. It used to come on after Dance Fever, which was a show hosted by a guy named Danny Terrio, if you remember. And so I did like it. I was disappointed in Star Trek: The Motion Picture as a kid. Maybe if I went back and revisited it now, I would like it.
That's a tough watch as a kid.
Yeah. Do you like it now, William?
Yeah. I actually liked it then. But I was a different kid. But for most kids, it was long. Its pacing was off. It wasn't something that kept a kid in front of a TV or a screen.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So when I got caught up in, hold on, I got to kick this goth guy out. Let's just get rid of him. It's not like he has anything terrible to say, but it's just so obnoxious and it disrupts the people who are trying to enjoy this. Wrath of Khan was definitely, then all of a sudden it was different for me. Then I was invested and then I was sad and had to see the search for Spock. And so, as Johnny said, they are both very different fandoms and the different avenues of Star Trek, not everybody stays with. Well, which is also the same for Star Wars. Some people don't like the Boba Fett show is very unpopular. Do you like it, William?
I thought it was a missed opportunity on a lot of it. Just basically turned into an extension of Mandalorian, which is fine for me, but I didn't see the need for it. Since it was basically just a connecting season between Mandalorian. So
I'm with you, and I think they threw in one of the most key spoiler alerts now if you're watching, but one of the key moments is Luke Skywalker's interaction with Grogu should have been on the Mandalorian the second time he appears. Instead, they threw it in the middle of Boba Fett, and I thought, like you said, definitely some missed opportunities. I didn't hate it. I haven't been able to get into the Andor show. Do you like that one?
Andor is great, but if you're looking for something uplifting, stay away from that show because there's nothing uplifting about that show. It's a very depressing watch.
It's a lot like this show.
It's bad. It's like, and plus, since you know where it's going, you realize that none of these people have anything bright in their future, even though ultimately they triumph. It's not these guys. These guys are going to get driven into the ground. I don't know if Star Trek or Star Wars is saturated. It's just it's saturated with mediocre stuff. I mean, when you're putting out high end stuff, nobody complains.
Yeah. Now Andor is pre-Rogue One, right, William?
Yes, it leads right into Rogue One, and Rogue One leads right into Episode 4.
Yeah, so you know what's going to happen. Johnny, you didn't watch all these things. You don't have a Disney, do you?
No, that's pretty deep. I don't know. I just know the main ones.
I think you would like some of them. Maybe we'll have to get a Disney subscription for Johnny so he can fit and catch up. What about Darth Vader, Obi-Wan Kenobi show? Did you like that?
No, I did not. It was hard to get invested in the characters that I knew it was going to happen because they're having a life or death battle, and guess what? I know that neither one of them dies. So it was really hard to get on that roller coaster where where it gets off already.
Yeah, I enjoyed some of the twists and the young Princess Leia, but as you said, it was never going to move along the story. It was fun to see old friends, so to speak, but you knew who was going to win the battle. You knew who you would see again.
Yeah, nostalgia is a dangerous thing. If it's used right, it's like a bomb. If you pull the right wires, everything disarms correctly. But if you pull the wrong one, it blows up, and that's what nostalgia is.
Yeah, and some of these questions we'll answer after William's here. A lot of people want to know if Johnny porked Doro Pesh on the cruise. And,
it's the same. It's the same guy you blocked that came back with another name.
Well, this time he had an intelligent question. A lot of people liked Rogue One. I did too. William, do you like it?
It's my second favorite of the Star Wars movies, right after Empire Strikes Back.
I think I'm with you. I really enjoyed it. And Rogue One was the beginning of all this, where we were pleasantly surprised. The ending was still a bit of a shock. I don't think at that point we were expecting to see our old characters. We certainly
more depression, but yeah, it was top notch for sure.
Yeah, Johnny would like that. Johnny, have you seen Rogue One?
No, I don't know what that is.
Yeah. It has a very sad ending, Johnny.
Like Old Yeller?
Well, kind
worse. On a much larger scale.
Mm-hmm.
Old
entire planets of Old Yeller. Just imagine that.
Planets, so one person dies, you really feel it. A planet dies, it happens.
Yeah.
Extinction. That's how we're here, by extinction.
Yeah. The dinosaurs, RIP dinosaurs.
That's right.
Now, I don't want everyone to think that William and I are the only nerds here. Johnny, when Johnny and I went by the Sci Fi Center, and Johnny was asking William about some of his favorite things, and some of the shit that Johnny was talking about, I never even heard of. Now, Johnny likes Dune. I'm not as up on Dune, but what was the other one you were talking about, Johnny?
Fringe.
Oh, Fringe, yeah. Anna Torv, Joshua Jackson. Yeah, that was one of our favorite shows.
I like Fringe a lot.
Yeah, we fought to keep that on the air, and I'm glad it got all 4 of its years.
That's a great show.
No Fringe, yeah. I missed that one. But the great thing about streaming is that we can recommend things to each other and then go and watch something. William also does. You do the watch parties. I don't know if you still do that.
Yeah, we do watch parties, like we did them for Picard. We did them for Game of Thrones. We did them for House of the Dragon. We did it for all 8 seasons of Game of Thrones. Watchmen, HBO's Watchmen. We did them for that. It all depends on the show and how much energy the show has.
Question here, and it's a good one from Chris. Doctor Who, anyone?
Yeah.
Yeah, every episode.
Yeah.
We streamed that too. We streamed that from The Earthly Child, which was the first episode, the pilot, and we went all the way through. This year is the 60th anniversary of Doctor Who, and we'll be doing, for the 10th year, we did a 24-hour marathon, and we started with the very first episode, and we ran all the way up till the 50th anniversary episode.
Wow.
This year, we're going to do another 24-hour marathon, so it'll go from on November 23rd, from about 4 o'clock in the afternoon until the 8 o'clock the next day.
I think it's great that you do this, and give back to the community. We've talked about also sending people to the movies. Most of these things you do are very affordable. We have a Red Dwarf fan, that's BBC, and then this is an off question, but all right, Elvira or Vampira?
Elvira, because Elvira actually had personality, whereas Vampira was designed to be more symbolic. There wasn't a lot of speaking going on there, whereas Elvira is an augmenter of a lot of different movies. There's a lot of really crappy movies that would have never gotten aired in the 80s if it wasn't for the fact of things like Commander USA or Elvira being able to augment them, and get them on the air. And a lot of those movies got a second and third life, especially with VHS and things like that, because of Elvira. Nothing against Vampire, but they're just different beasts altogether.
Johnny, Elvira?
Well, you guys are, again, taking it really deep. I wasn't basing it on their personalities as much as but I don't know enough about Vampira, so I'd have to go with the other one,
I've met both of them, but I met Vampira at this convention before she passed. And she was a little angry, and she was charging a lot of money, much higher than anyone else, because she sort of resented that she didn't make money or get the attention. And she felt like Elvira sort of ran with her gimmick. They were very different gimmicks. And Elvira, as William pointed out, took it into her own thing, and she had better assets. Vampira, though, is buried at the Hollywood Forever Cemetery. And Johnny, you'll like this. She's buried next to an actor named Darren McGavin. Now,
come on. That's not true, is it?
Yeah, they're right next to each other. He's best known for the Christmas Story movies. He's the old man. But Johnny, who do you like him from?
I watch him every week.
Night Stalker.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah, he's.
I liked him, boy. He's. I got that same suit.
I'm sure you do. So in that cemetery, you have a Vampira, then you have Darren McGavin, and behind you have Mr. Blackwell. Do you remember him?
Oh, of course.
He would rate people's outfits. Now, there's some questions in here asking Johnny about Enough's Enough. We'll answer that stuff after. Right now, we're in a sci-fi mode. Biff has a good question for William, and William is the expert here. What sci-fi do you recommend these days?
On a cinematic wise, Blade Runner, anything to do with Blade Runner. Blade Runner Black Lotus, the animated version of that. Star Trek, Picard, Discovery. There's a lot of stuff, and if I'm going to go broad, I could go and recommend individual stuff. But if I'm going to go on a broad base, there's a lot of stuff on Netflix right now that you will never hear about. That is really, really good. You've got things like I think The Expanse is on there. Obviously, Stranger Things is on there. But once you get into some of these streaming services, they actually have some of the best science fiction and horror around.
William, where can people find your channel? Because you do a lot of chats where you give more information than I could give right now.
Yeah, you can find me at youtube.com/at the Sci Fi Center. And that's our personal channel there. And then we also broadcast on Poindexter Lounge, which is the national channel that we share with a couple other different people.
Okay, good to know. And here's a good one. I'm tossed. I'm not sure about this. Tron. People are asking about Tron. I saw it when I was a kid, and I thought it was fun, maybe a little slow. I haven't seen it since, but Tron is back. William, is it good or bad that it's back?
I never connected with Tron outside of 1982 because I thought that the appeal for me for Tron was when Tron came out, and I was like, I think 8. It was cool, but in the era I live in now, it's just there's nothing that wows me about Tron. And that's not to knock it. I just think that certain things have its time and place and date where it has that wow factor. It's like The Matrix. It's like doing The Matrix again was tough because when we did The Matrix in 1999, we were still dealing with brick phones and flip phones, and we didn't have bullet cam until they showed it to us. And if you look at all the technology that the Matrix was trying to show you in 1999, little kids have that in their pockets now. So it's not as impressive. But at the time, 1999, it was epic. So it's just that's where Tron is for me.
Johnny, I feel like you liked Tron when you were younger, right?
I think that was a good, summary. Tron kind of felt like Logan's Run a little bit, like in that same kind of vibe. I liked the video game Tron. The spiders would come down, and I played the hell out of that game.
I remember that, sure.
But yeah, I don't know. I mean, it is kind of like a time capsule. All of these are, though. I mean, but the new stuff, yes, it's crazy good. I mean, I don't really watch animation that much.
I'm behind on. I'd like to. I need to kind of sit and get into that. But that's a whole nother. Rhonda Shear was a big part of Troma being successful in the same way. USA Up All Night. I did a lot of episodes of that show.
I remember that. Grew up with that.
Yeah, she would play a lot of the what they call B movies as well. I remember one time we were filming introductions for that channel, and it was USA at the time. And they hired an actor to play the Toxic Avenger. It usually had to be a muscular actor, but he was a terrible actor and not even a very good reader. And so they asked me if I would wear the Toxic Avenger costume, and they would show his body in the wide shots and my head in the tight shots. And then I would say things like, stick around to USA Up All Night for Nymphoid Barbarian and Dinosaur Hell, because I could remember all these ridiculous movie titles. Croak Frog Monster from Hell, Femme Fontaine, Killer Babe for the CIA. But that was all part of USA Up All Night. Now let's, a lot of people talking about Red Dwarf. Is that something you're into, William?
I tried to get into it. It's just wasn't for me, but it's really high-end stuff. Red Dwarf is big in BBC. Red Dwarf was actually one of the groundbreakers that bought BBC back during, because there was a lull where there was no Doctor Who from 1989 to, until on TV until 2005, and kind of things like Red Dwarf, the Lex, Farscape. those kind of things kind of filled the void. So I know it's a special franchise.
Yeah, and by BBC we mean the English channel, not Lexington.
British Broadcasting Company.
Yeah, not yeah. So here's a good question, age-old question. I'm controversial on this one. Joe in Seattle wants to know, and we're the ones to settle this: is Gremlins a Christmas movie?
No, neither is Die Hard.
I'm definitely with you on Die Hard.
Take Christmas out of the movie and add any other gathering type of thing. If you take Christmas out of it and the movie stops, then it's a Christmas movie. If it's the engine that runs the movie, then it's a Christmas movie. But if I can replace the Christmas party in Die Hard with an anniversary or someone getting promoted party like that, then it's not the theme. You can say it's Christmas themed, but it's not a Christmas movie. Like The Old Man, the Christmas Story. That's a Christmas movie.
Johnny,
I could put Gremlins in any holiday and it would still work.
Hanukkah would be good for Gremlins. Johnny, what do you think?
Yeah, I get that. I have to agree with that. I mean, it's sold as a Christmas movie because for sell it, but yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, Die Hard was released in like July, and people continue to this day to call it a Christmas movie. So yeah, there you go.
It was also a summer movie.
Yeah,
and now I kind of sort of include it with my Christmas watching sometimes. Right between Halloween and Christmas, I kind of consider it. But yeah, I wouldn't think of those as being.
The right answer is it's whatever it means to the watcher, because each of these movies is subjective. If it represents a Christmas moment for them, then that's your answer right there.
I don't know a lot of the newer stuff, but I saw this Black Mirror series and I thought it was good.
Yeah, that's an excellent series.
I haven't seen that, so you guys recommend that?
Yeah, it's on Netflix.
I liked it. I thought it was really, really interesting.
It's easy to get into.
It was good, just all around. It was, and of course, Squid Games was kind of had that vibe a little bit.
Did you like Squid Games, William? I didn't watch it.
Never. I got about 20 minutes into it. It just wasn't for me.
Yeah, that's how
some things aren't bad. They're just not. They just don't make the connection with me. Yeah.
Sure. I will point out we have a lot of people asking about horror movies. Next week on this show, same time, same channel, my friend Sean Clark will be here. He's Malfunk Sean on YouTube, and he is one of the main guys in the Halloween world. He's part of the Halloween 45 convention. He's an agent also. He represents a lot of the actors from the Halloween movies. As far as I know, he's the only person to have represented Jamie Lee Curtis at a convention. That money went to charity. But anyway, he's got this thing, Halloween 45, coming up. And we're going to talk about that next week. He also has a show called Horror's Hallowed Grounds that I recommend you guys watch. It's really good. He goes to the locations where your favorite horror movies were filmed. So anyway, we're going to stick a little more sci-fi. And then next week we could talk about more horror. Joe's with you. Let's see here. Question about Mad Max. That's a good, interesting one. William, where do you stand on the Mad Max trilogy, or more than that?
All of them they're classics. I mean, they're all pretty much part of the same franchise. Even the newer one with George Hill. Yeah, I think Mad Max was groundbreaking.
I need to revisit them. Johnny, Mad Max?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely like a timestamp. Like you can remember that. It's just everything was a first of its kind, sort of. But yeah.
I'll tell you an interesting little Mad Max trivia that ties into the rock world. We just did the Monsters of Rock cruise. There's a band called Rose Tattoo. They're a legendary band. They inspired stuff like AC/DC. They're from Australia. But the singer, his name is Angry Anderson. I think that's his God-given name. He is in Mad Max Beyond Thunderdome. He's a smaller guy with a bald head, and he's got this. You would recognize him if you saw him. And anyway, Johnny and I saw him in the airport, and I thought it was funny to connect those things. I need to redo a lot of these movies. It's been so long. Sometimes you have to watch them again. Blade Runner also. I haven't seen the sequels. I need to start over again. I was just young when it came out, and I was just excited to see Han Solo, I think, like a lot of people. So I need to do the Blade Runner movies. Let's see. People enjoy William. He's a fountain of knowledge. That is true. William is really an expert on these
Thank
topics.
you.
Yeah, and people also going to be excited to see Sean next week. Let's see. I'm trying to get through all your questions. Yes, Sean's podcast is with Christopher Nelson, who is an Oscar-winning special effects master. Their show is called The Thing with Two Heads, and we'll talk about that. People asking about Corey Haim or Corey Feldman. I don't even know if that's interesting. You want to pick any of you guys?
Neutral.
I mean, have you seen that?
Someone in the questions asked which Corey, Feldman or Haim.
Oh, well,
Haim is no longer with us.
Right. Yeah.
I'm neutral on this as well. I can't.
I've met him and he's very nice and I like him. And
Which one?
Feldman.
Okay.
And then I saw the performance.
Yeah, if his
I don't understand.
If his concert was a joke, he would be great. Jake Perry from the Whiskey, who's been on the show before, he works with Corey Feldman, and I told him I want to play bass in that band. It didn't look like it took a lot of talent, but it's crazy. He dresses like Michael Jackson, and if it was an act, it might be funnier. Okay, people seem to really be enjoying this. Eric William, thank you for your service. He's a 23 years in the Air Force. So,
yeah, I was the son of an Air Force vet. My dad retired out of the Air Force, third generation. So thank you, your grandfather or your father for his service as well.
Yeah, and
or if it's him, I'm sorry, I read that wrong.
Talk about getting airsick. I would not be able to do that.
No, that's why we're thanking you so much for your service, because we can't do it.
Well, I mean, you do what you want to. I would love to have been able to do that, but I don't think I can get up that early. First of all, and second of all,
the hours are rough, William. The hours are rough.
Yes, they
among other things.
They are definitely rough,
Yeah.
especially when under deployment. So.
Okay, let's see. I'm skimming. I mean, a lot of people have a lot of interesting things. Somebody asking about do we remember Mystery Science Theater? I do.
Mm-hmm.
It's still around.
Yeah, it's still going. It wasn't my favorite. I like the idea though, and I'd like to do that live. People say that this show is a lot like that. I would like to sit with Johnny and talk about movies and give our opinions, or other live bands. You should see us at a concert. Okay.
Yeah.
Here's a good one. This is a little bit more horror related, but I think William could help us, and so could Johnny. Not many movies actually scare me. What are some that will?
John Carpenter's The Thing.
Mm-hmm. That's a good choice. Johnny, can you think of anything?
Oh boy, yeah. Wow, everything's
Audition, maybe, right, Johnny? You saw Audition recently.
Yeah, that is a good one for sure. I like that one.
I'll tell you something that I won't watch. I won't watch movies like The Strangers, where the story is people show up at your house and kill you. That's not that's not artistic enough for me. That could happen. So I'm not a fan. I'm not a fan of that. I would rather see movies with a story. But there's still some out there. And believe it or not, I remember seeing the Blair Witch Project when it opened. I saw it in New York City. It was playing only at the Angelica, the art theater. And we didn't have, the internet was at an infinite stage, just beginning. And we kind of believed that maybe this footage was real. Nobody knew. Every showing was sold out. And the ending was so abrupt.
Well, they were doing interviews on CNN while they were supposed to be missing. So I was always with the Blair Witch, let them out for interviews and just let them, come back to the forest. I was like, I won so much money betting people that was not real.
You were on the host. I remember I saw it at a theater right across from Central Park, and my girlfriend at the time was scared of the park and scared. I remember she was scared to leave my bedroom, which is good. I wish I could take everybody to see a movie like that. But some people hated it. I don't think it aged well. And now Suspiria is a scary one. A lot of people do agree on that. Another legendary one.
The original or the remake?
I got to think he's talking about the original.
The Dario Argento? Okay.
Yeah, Dario Argento. He made some interesting movies. I met him a few times. Let's see what everybody else is saying, and then I'll let William get back to his life. And before we do that, William, so this weekend is TROMANIA. It's Friday and Saturday. You're doing
Yep.
this outside, right?
No, we were originally going to do it outside, but the weather is just too unpredictable. So we moved it inside. There's a place on the same floor as the Sci Fi Center called the Nunnery. And we've done our Rocky Horror Picture Show there. We've done a couple different events there, and it'll be right upstairs from where it would have been outside. But the last thing I wanted to do is set all that up and then have to scramble with clouds or whatever, being 90 degrees. It's just the weather this time of year is just hit or miss, and I didn't want to miss. So it'll be upstairs inside.
Okay, so that's good to know. Tickets are available now. You can go to the scificenter.com, right?
Yes, scificenter.com/Troma, and you can buy. There's 3 different levels. You can buy the full 2-day event, and you can buy single-day tickets as well.
Tell me a little bit about the event. I'm going to put it up on the screen, but tell me a little bit about what's going to happen.
This is our first one. This is our inaugural TROMANIA. It consists of 6 movies, all Troma, 3 classics, and 3 brand new ones. It'll open up 6 p.m. on Friday, May 12th. With Toxic Avenger, and it'll be not just Toxic Avenger, it'll be Lloyd sitting with us giving audio commentary. So if you've ever had any questions about Toxic Avenger over the last 30 some odd years, that's the guy that will be able to answer it for you while it is showing. After that, we'll have some intermissions, photo ops, things like that, and then we'll go into Eating Miss Campbell, which will be making its Vegas premiere here, and that'll be about 7:30. So I got the timeline that we'll post later on because we had to finalize some things. And then later on the evening of night 1 will be Heidi Moore's Dolly Kill. It's a sequel to Dolly Deadly, and that'll be making its world premiere. So it'll be the first time you've seen it anywhere. So we'll have like a little red carpet event set up for that with picture opportunities and everything. So and then we'll have a Q&A with her and the cast after that one's done. Night 2, we have another audio commentary with Lloyd. It'll be Nukem High. And so if you've got any questions about that one, you can sit with him and answer those. Then we'll roll in. Speaking of James Gunn, we'll be doing Romeo and Juliet right after that. And then hashtag Shakespeare Shitstorm, which will be the capstone of the event. That's the movie Lloyd directed directly. And he'll be sitting with us on that one. And then we'll do a more expanded Q&A after that, because Lloyd can go a while when it's open-ended. So we'll have plenty of time to answer questions, take photos. The merchandise arrived today from Troma, so we'll have that out there. And so it's just a weekend of all things Troma. And for anybody who supports not just Troma but anything independent wise, there's going to be a lot of people that that I've invited that are independent filmmakers. That I've invited just as guests is ours that are local filmmakers. But we wanted to have something that showed both the up and coming things that Troma has to offer, but also the classics that people know Troma for.
Yeah, absolutely. And this is a great way to support independent art. And as we said, it's fun to watch these silly movies, especially the Toxic Avenger. You know where the crazy stuff is going to happen. You know about the full head crushing scene. You know how much for a kid on a bicycle. So while you're watching it, it's fun to talk during. This is the one time it's okay to talk during the movies. And people are going to have a good time. And I will be there to introduce Lloyd on the first day and to do
Q&A on night 2.
Q&A, thank you, on the second day. I'm reading questions. Someone said, who would run Troma after Lloyd? It's a good question that we'll ask him. I think maybe his daughter would do it, Lily Hayes, but she's very successful in her own things. Michael Hers, somebody asked about earlier, he does not like to do appearances anymore. He did do them today. Yeah. He even directed me. One time he was directing, Troma would shoot these wraparounds all the time, introductions to their movies, and I would play the character Kabuki Man. And one time Michael Hers came in and he said, okay, I'm very hungover, and I really only want to hear people speak when spoken to. And I'm gonna go around the room, and when I point to you, just nod your head, and that knows that you had got it. And somebody spoke too much, and I think they got fired. I was perfect. I knew not to say anything. I held my mask in my hand. I nodded, and then I put the mask on. He was great. I got along with him, but he could intimidate people. My first day at Troma, Michael Hers told me, I don't like you standing against that wall. I like you better against that wall. And he would haze people a little bit, but once you realized his sense of humor, it was a great one. So anyway, if you're in Las Vegas or you're near Las Vegas, you want to get to the Sci-Fi Center this weekend, Friday and Saturday. Great movies each day, and some new movies, and there'll be some colorful characters. There always are. You know, you're gonna see some characters, and I'll try to record a little bit to show people on the video. So anyway, I know William's got to go. I appreciate him for stopping by with us. And William, we'll talk again. Again, you do great things for the community, and we look forward to seeing you again soon.
All right, thank you, and I'll see you this weekend.
Great, sounds good. Thank you, William.
All right, see you later, buddy.
Bye. Bye.
All right, so that was William Powell. William Powell's the first person to figure out how to use the private chat. He knows more about this than I do. Anyway, I do recommend the Sci-Fi. I like things that are a little off the beaten path. The Sci-Fi Center is definitely that, as you saw on our videos, and it's a fun place. So, okay, so anyway, I'm glad that you guys liked it. Now we can get back to talking about any of your questions for Enough's Enough, about Enough's Enough, or things that happen on the cruise. Your usual questions: why is Johnny so angry? When is his album She Said She Found Her Soulmate coming out? When will Vanessa be stopping by? All of those type of things. Randy is first with an Enough's Enough question.
Getting angry.
Question for Johnny. I saw a YouTube video of Johnny with Enough's Enough on the Jenny Jones show back in the day. Was Jenny as hot in person as she looked on the TV? I gotta know.
I mean, she looked the same, so I mean, if that
you banged her?
No.
Sure.
40. Yeah.
Is she living?
I don't know. I don't know. Probably.
I don't think she's living.
No, she probably is.
She had a problem with her breast implants.
Oh.
And
okay.
she had some health issues with them. She was a part of the Susan G. Komen cure. She had to have 6 silicone implant operations since 1981, which left her with firm and asymmetrical breasts. Jones later had her breast implants removed and publicly spoke out against them through People magazine. And so she donated her profits talking about her breast cancer. She does maintain a website called JennyJones.com. Imagine that. She also has one called Jenny Can Cook. She was married to a musician named Al Gambino. I don't know if he's in the family. But she is, Jenny Jones is 76 years old.
Wow, that's crazy.
She was born in the British Mandate of Palestine.
Really?
Sounds like somewhere the cruise would go.
Yeah, you sure got the right Jenny Jones?
Yes. Yes. So anyway, but you did not. Did you have time to talk with her or no?
That's pretty. You get there really early in the morning. It's like 4 in the morning, and they put you on the stage and they get ready. I think she spoke to us a little bit. She was nice. I mean, she, everyone has their moment in time, right? It's like, she did. And Jerry Springer was around, and what was the other one?
Jeez. Well, at that time I worked for Geraldo Rivera.
He was there, and
Sally Jesse Raphael.
That's right. That's the one I was thinking of. Maury
Povich.
That was later, but yeah.
And the biggest of all, Phil Donahue. He invented the format.
Yeah, that one security guard had a show for a while, like a spinoff.
Steve Bilkos.
Yeah, I didn't like that one. Too alpha male, bald.
Yes. Okay, hold on now. So anyway, Johnny, people are so fascinated though. Didn't something happen? Didn't Donnie V call an audible or something?
Oh, during that?
Yeah.
Yeah, in the middle of it, we were playing, I don't know, Fly High Michelle or something, and then he stopped and went into a new song, kind of like wanted to go right into it. Elvis Costello did it on SNL, but he stopped the whole band, said, "Stop, hold on a minute," and he spoke, and then they started it, which was cool, and plus it was, the time. But he sort of tried to do something like that where we just went from the one song into the other. People didn't really, I don't think got it because, you know, they wouldn't know one song from another, the normal masses.
Yeah.
Probably just thought it would abruptly stop and started another one as some form of a medley or something, you know. I don't know.
Johnny, I don't know if you know Randy Holt personally, but he has a lot of questions.
Okay.
He'd like to know, how is Laura from the Burning Witches, Johnny, he's heading to, or are you heading to Switzerland for any dates? They would like to know if you will be continuing this thing with Laura.
So ridiculous. I have not spoke to anybody from the boat since we've been back. And chances are that, you know, that's how it's going to go. These are people you're acquaintance with. You meet them, and then it's fleeting, like two passing ships.
Cruise ships, yeah. But it was magical while it lasted.
I don't know. I just, the last thing I remember is the elevator scene.
Mm-hmm. I don't think this is an appropriate question to answer, but I'll read it. When you're done talking about spaceships and other sort of things, we need to talk about how much weight Courtney Cox gained. Don't think it's appropriate.
Yeah, you know. Oh, spaceships.
I mean, I'll be honest with you. There's clips in the tour diary where I do address somebody's weight, and I felt bad about it, and I'm going to remove it. Because, you know, we're all one In-N-Out burger away from not being happy with ourselves. And so so I'm going to try to be nicer about people like that. Joe in Seattle mentions that it doesn't matter because he's got Vanessa upstairs. Statements like this are just unnecessary and cruel. Half of Burning Witches need to burn some calories. I mean, that's terrible. Johnny, Chris is a member. I like the members better than anybody else. At Jason Green is always after the money. Was the exchange of the mattress better?
Yeah, it was a little better, but I'm still having issues with the one here. That is over. That thing, you know, got me through the days. All they did was they went under the bed, and they have toppers and, you know, egg carton things, and they probably have that because some people like me have probably said, you know, sleeping on this, it's difficult. So they try to make it better for you. They were very nice, the people, the helpers. But this bed,
stewards,
is a bigger problem.
The one at home, you mean?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and you can't get rid of it, from what I understand.
I mean, I have it on Craigslist.
Really?
But everyone that replies, it's a scam.
Well, Johnny, by saying that, don't you think now everyone's going to go try to find your bed on Craigslist?
Someone should buy it. I'm sure it's a good bed for someone.
Would you autograph it if someone purchased it?
Well, yeah, sure. If that's going to matter.
What's the bed going for?
$1,400. It's a $1,400 mattress that I'm selling it for. I bought it for like $2,400. Okay. I've only had it 6 months. It's you know, it's good for someone who doesn't have the same, you know, bones, and I got bones, he's got bones. I think it's just, I don't like how you sink into these new mattresses. Some people love it. I think I need a more of like a bouncier one, like an old school bed where you're kind of on top of the bed, not so much in it. You know, we've had this conversation before.
Yeah, well, but there's new people. Okay, I want to. We'll get back to this, Johnny. I haven't forgot. A lot of people are asking, how do you become a member? And Joe is answering well, no, two people are asking how to become a member, and the answer is hit the join button, which is right at the top of the video on the right. You can hit join. Sometimes you might have to go out to do it and come back, but you do get to see the videos. Any super chats from the Puerto Plata Tourism Board tonight? There should be. They should be supporting us. Johnny and I did the most we can. We did not show any of the hysteria or any of the other things. We only showed the best to make those companies look right. This is a good point, Chris. Vanessa probably wouldn't like your mattress at home. Then you know she's the one. That is, Johnny, did you ask her what kind of mattress she has?
I was actually going to try to see if she needed one because she's right up there. But I don't know how to like approach that. I'm sure if she moved in
her in your house after 30 seconds.
Well, I'm sure if she moved in, she brought a bed with her. No one's going to move in there and not have a bed. So she probably has one. But it would be easier for what?
Did you have a bed the day you moved in?
I didn't. And that's what started this whole problem.
Did you have a couch?
No, I still don't. But that started the whole problem because I just went to the bed store and tried one out and I'm like, oh, this one seems pretty good. Tried them all out, took my time. And then 5 mattresses later, there's nothing wrong with this bed. It's just, and it's a high-end mattress. That's why they're upset with me. They're like, every bed you've returned has been a high-end mattress. I'm like, yeah, well, there was one that said it was made out of horsehair.
Oof, I don't like that.
And it was very expensive. It was like $5,000. And I was kicking myself on the way home because I went past a horse stable and I seen a horse run around and I'm like, I could be sleeping on that.
Somebody's saying Vanessa has a nice ass. You're just being controversial. You don't.
But yeah, I mean, but it's like I would probably just have to start. Who knows what would happen on the next one? But I just think that now that I'm a little more, I know what I need. I'd really be cautious more so than the first 5 beds. So.
Lisa, who I believe is actually a female, even though YouTube says I don't have a female audience, she says watching you, that's me, and Johnny is the best part of the night. Your dry sense of humor is hysterical. Then a bunch of emojis. Johnny needs to smile, damn it. And there is a super smile from Johnny. And then there's a lot of women here. Yes, it's Denise. She says, I got a wink bed. It's the best. You know what a wink bed is, Johnny?
No, I'm guessing it's like a Casper or like one of those other ones. Is it a bed in the box?
Denise will have to answer that. A lot of people saying you need to washy the bed. Some people say you need a water bed.
I have those. Not in this day and age. It'd be too weird. Plus, I think it's in my lease that I can't have one.
It is definitely in my lease. No giant fish tanks. No water beds. Yeah.
I'm gonna buy one of those. You can't find those. Buy one of those. The sleep by number bed was kind of nice, but some people say it's a glorified air mattress. And then there's another one. What's the other one? I don't remember, but
I don't know. I sleep on a cot.
But most of these fancy beds are expensive because you can change each side independently of the other. I don't need that. I just need one big square bed that doesn't leave me in excruciating pain every morning I wake up. That's all I need.
Christopher Carroll says, let Vanessa know that you're selling a $2,400 mattress for $40. And if she knows anyone looking, she'll grab it. And that's very true.
No, you're right. I mean, I have to promote myself. I made a flyer and I put it down by the mailbox and they took it down after like 2 months. Weird.
You should put it on your website, maybe. A chance to own Johnny Monaco's bed. Johnny, if someone requested that you lay in the bed with them, would you do it?
You mean like when they pick it up to come here to get it?
Like a photo op.
Oh, yeah, we do that.
Okay. So if you guys are in the market and you're a fan of Johnny Monaco, as I am.
Listen, I'm not trying to rip anybody off. And it is really a high-end bed. It's just not for my body. It just doesn't work for me.
Yeah.
Can work for you.
Randy you need to stay with the program. He says if the water bed explodes, you can meet Vanessa below you, but Vanessa lives above him. So
she always will.
Yeah, and yes, and so okay, let's see here. Oh, so yeah, just choose wink. It's wonderful. That's Denise.
I'll look it up. I don't know.
On it.
Wink.
Johnny has his people contact them.
Wink. Here we go. Wink. Wink beds. One word. Fancy. It's like a nectar, probably, or one of those. Yeah, they all look good in the commercials. Until you're waking up cursing Mattress Firm. Yeah, it looks good. Okay.
Do you think William Powell got my BBC joke?
No.
I don't think he did either. Yeah.
Softer, luxury firm, or firmer? I think luxury firm would be the way to go, right?
This is not a subject that I'm an expert on. I can't even fake it. I literally went in and said, "What's the cheapest mattress you have?" And I left with it. I carried it on my back home.
I wish, like a cross. I wish,
much like a cross,
that I was like that more. I wish I could just sleep on anything. Okay, here, you can get the queen version of that bed, that size. But it's kind of like the same as what I got. There's memory foam, and there's the Euro top part, individually wrapped pocket coils. But it looks like you can get this for $1,500. You can buy this. So at that rate, someone could just buy this instead of mine. But mine is supposed to be a high-end bed. So I don't know. I also have an adjustable base, which is worth more in my car. But that was good for if you have indigestion, or if you want to sit up while you watch TV, just get a button and come right up. So, yeah, I like that.
We're coming in on 1 hour and 31 minutes. I'm so glad everyone's watching. We have over 200 people here right now, which is great. A few programming notes and other things that are going on. I will be I'll be at the TROMANIA event this Friday and Saturday. Johnny, I don't know if you're playing this weekend, but if you'd like to come and experience some Troma, you're more than welcome to come on down. Johnny and I are also going to go to the San Gennaro Feast. I think on our quest to find some good Italian food, San Gennaro Feast should get it right. Listen, the state fair should get it right too. And Johnny and I have yet to find anyone. We thought we found it, Johnny. And what did they do to our heroes?
They flattened them with a iron.
Yeah. So anyway, if you guys are in town, you want to come to the San Gennaro Feast. Hold on. Here's a question, then I'll get back to what's going on. For both of us, city you've been on, favorite city you've been to on the Piercy tours. Okay, that's an easy one. Johnny, you go first.
Favorite city? Man, I don't know.
Well, I'll start. I'll tell you one that at least I really enjoyed. I really enjoyed Washington State.
Oh, yeah.
I can't tell you the name of the city because they're hard to pronounce. The weather was beautiful. Johnny got sick, but other than that, it was a fun trip. We got to watch people have a live intercourse show through their windows.
God.
The window was open, so I feel like we were invited. I did not see a pineapple, but I thought that was a beautiful one, and I was able to go do things. I like being able to walk around, explore. I went to see Jimi Hendrix. He didn't see me, but that was a good one. And I mean, Illinois, that's an obvious one for Johnny, but I thought we had a nice time in Des Plaines. I got to go visit Harry Carey. He didn't see me. And the Breakfast Club School and some of those. Right now there's 30 tour diaries, online, and you can see everywhere we went. Any ideas, Johnny, now which one do you like?
Even though I was sick, I did like Seattle. Man, it's tough. I don't know if I had one favorite. They're all pretty cool.
Labadee?
Yeah, it was different. That was very exotic. I mean, you can't just because LA is LA, but you have to go by the specific time you had, or are we just cities? Like, what's the best city? And but as far as having the best time, I don't know if they're all tie. It's a wash.
Okay, well, there's been a lot of them. Let me get a few more of these questions. Good night, Hannah, by the way. Hannah, thank you so much for staying up with us. We're going to wrap this up in 26 minutes. You could probably hang in there. But Dave says he enjoys all 30 tour diaries. I don't know what there would be not to enjoy. Someone says no electric golf carts. Key West was great, actually. That was a great city. We had a lot of fun, which reminds me that this weekend, Saturday and Sunday, you can watch the Key West tour diaries. Members got to see them early, but it's the most controversial tour diaries that we've done yet. I go visit the Hemingway house and the Polycats, meaning they have 6 toes. I climb a lighthouse. Johnny and I search for the perfect key lime high at a place called Blue Heaven. Johnny at the time was not sober. The next day I visit Robert the Doll, the most supernatural doll in history, influenced Chucky and all those other things. And then, yes, Johnny and I hitchhike in a golf cart with a man with one leg. The golf cart breaks down and we spend the rest of our night in hell. And I'd like to share that with all of you. So tune in every day, 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, new content. This Friday, interview with Stacy Q. Okay, let's see. Now, Brian watched the Stacy Q interview because he's a member. I watched the Stacy Q interview. It was great. Serious question, not being an asshole. What was up with her breathing? Did you need an inhaler? Did she need an inhaler? This is a tough question for me to answer. Part of me thinks maybe I should leave the mystery. I will tell you that after the interview, I said, Stacy, are you okay? I know Stacy Q. I've worked with her. I wasn't even sure it was really her for a little while. I had to ask personal questions to identify her. She looked like she may be in witness protection. She told me she had pneumonia a couple of years back, and she's had a breathing problem ever since. She says she's okay, and it doesn't affect the way she sings. But when you watch the interview, she takes these huge breaths, and it's slightly strange. Randy says the Tower Diaries are great. Loving the Monsters of Rock cruise. If you guys haven't seen those yet, then tune in now because there's 5 parts and they're going crazy and everyone is loving it. You're going to be hearing a lot about today's episode featuring Michael Schenker and A Message to Warren. Michael Ray would like to get me and Johnny both LASIK to ditch the glasses. He says he has LASIK practice.
Well, I would love to do that, but I was told that it won't work for me because,
really?
Well, I mean, as you get older, you need to have glasses to read. Mm-hmm. So, but I have like a split, right? Bifocals. So I need to be able to have a little bit of a prescription to see far, but mostly it's for reading. And evidently they can't fix that because I would love that. I don't want to have to wear glasses, but if I don't, it's rough,
Well, Michael, maybe he can consult you. I don't want anything cutting my eyes. I'm not doing it. So I'm not interested. But I appreciate it. I mean, hey, it's great, but I'm a scaredy cat and I don't care. Okay, let's Dave, Alex, you guys are fantastic. And I got to get on that Patreon. My birthday is coming up this Friday. Well, get on there, Dave, and I'll send you a birthday list. I'm going to sit down and sign these pictures. I got a bunch of them. I'm going to sign them all tonight, and I'm going to send everybody these pics and all that shit because people are complaining to Johnny that when they get upset, they complain to Johnny. Like we got a new member, 3 Pistol 7. I didn't even know that I could see this kind of information, but thank you for being a member. It's probably the best deal out there. All right. Oh yeah, there it is. New member. Don't you guys want to be that? You get these stars. You get access to emojis. You get access to watch the videos early. So that's great. If you want the guitar pick thing, then you go to Patreon. They're all great. Everything is great. What is your view of Eddie Trunk broadcasting Wednesdays on YouTube? So a lot of people have asked me, Eddie Trunk is going to be doing a YouTube show at the same exact time as me. I think they said they're going to do it once a month. It's him and those other guys from that metal show. Their names escape me because for a lot of reasons. But listen, it's a free world. You can vote with your voice. I think that what Johnny and I do is very different what they do. They're going to do the same shit they did on that metal show. They're going to give you lists. They're going to tell you about how they know Ace Frehley and all those type of things. I like Eddie Trunk. I support Eddie Trunk. Supposedly Eddie Trunk mentioned us. But as far as YouTube, this is me and Johnny's domain. As far as podcasts that talk about Trickster, I am number one. All these other ones, no. So anyway, you guys watch what you want. You can watch it the next day. I don't think it's going to be that entertaining. Eddie also is full invested in Sirius XM. He has to do that. So you have the choice to watch whatever you like. LASIK has many side effects. Look at the suicide rate, spelled wrong, after LASIK. So yeah, no thanks. Speaking of that, though, bass player for Suicidal Tendencies and I, Luigi, we've been discussing things. He's the original guy. He wrote all the cool parts and songs. He's going to be here very soon. He's doing tours of the Punk Rock Museum. Johnny and I had a nice time there. Jason, who sings the opening of your show? Is it you? No, it is the late Scotty Griffin. He's in Riley's LA Guns. He moved to Orlando, Florida. So I am playing bass on the song. I co-wrote it. Blah, 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 blah. And the drummer is Richie Ramone. Me and Johnny are going to write a new song, though, soon, a new theme song. He doesn't know yet, but we're going to work on it. A lot of people talking about eye surgery. I'm going to skip all of that. A lot of people saying they prefer me to Eddie Trunk. You're not going to see Shiraz Lane on the Eddie Trunk show, but you will see them here tomorrow. A lot of people say they'd rather see us. Somebody asked me a question. I can't find it. Another cool episode. This is Scott, Jason, and Johnny. Take care. Do you remember the PIX game on Channel 11? I think I do. I watch it. This is from Andy's Enough. I don't know if he's a member of the band. It's hard to tell because no one knows who's in that band. But I do remember I used to watch Channel 11. Some of these questions I don't care about. And I love Johnny, but what amps does he use? Who cares? That's for stupid, boring time. We'll do a show if you want Johnny's rigs, but everyone's asking how many guitars Johnny has. If you've watched the show, Johnny's explained it many times, and blah, 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 blah. Unless, Johnny, you think this is important to address.
I mean, I don't really talk about gear too much. I just use the amps that they have at the gigs, and I have a modeler, and I have like 3 guitars. That's it. I don't really have a lot of stuff.
Guitar playing is in your hands.
That's what Nuno Betancourt told me.
Mm-hmm. The best players I've seen can play any guitar anytime and still get a sound out of it and make it sound good. Brent Muscat used to play these custom guitars, GMP. It was like a toy. It's like a Fisher-Price toy. And Jeff Skunk Baxter came to jam. That guy's a musician. He's also in the CIA. And he took that silly toy guitar, and boy, he did things that it's never sounded that good before. Also, Jimmy Crespo. I've watched him play Les Paul plugged in straight, direct, and it was incredible. So Johnny is a real guitar player. Sure, effects and things can always make things better. And there's things you can do, but I feel like Johnny can play anything. And on one of these episodes, we're going to have Johnny play some guitars that people send in, because right before my cancer surgery, this company wanted us to play guitars right out of the box. And I bet you Johnny can make it sound good too. Here is Southern Drummer. Thank you so much for your super chat. We're running out of time here. Next year's 80s cruise stops in Aruba. Yes. I will be on it with 38 Special. It's 7 days. Yikes.
Oh, jeez.
Your show is better than anyone else. Yes, Johnny and I will be there most likely unless something happens. Aruba is scary, but anyway, yes, we're going to be there. We're happy to meet you on that cruise. 7 days is a lot of days for me. I may prefer an 80s cruise. It's nice that everyone knows us on the metal cruise. I've seen all those metal bands. I've seen them too many times, and I'm going to see them the rest of the year. I'm looking forward to getting down with Wang Chung and Ray Parker Jr. and just having a nice time, a nice vacation. And Michelle is going to get to be there as well. Okay. Mr. Malou, the great Malou, he would like to see Johnny in Thailand. A lot of people have asked to see Johnny in Thailand. He's a little concerned about the beds. A lot of people sleep on nails. And Johnny, have you tried sleeping on nails?
No, but I mean, I don't know what to do anymore. So I just know every night I go to bed, I look at this bed and I know what's going to happen. Starts out fine.
I don't think you can exchange nails. Johnny is a great musician, certified badassery. It's the player, not the instrument. How about Johnny rig rundown? Look, if Johnny wanted to do that, I would, but I don't.
It's right here. It's right here.
Yeah, you're gonna get it right now. There it is. Like, comment, and subscribe. You just got it.
The guitar part goes in there, and then it goes out of this into the return of the effects loop. So it bypasses the amps preamp section.
A horror movie, The Return of the Effects loop.
And I got it plugged in here right now because I edited it online or on the desktop. And I just put this in my luggage with my clothes. I barely bring anything. And then I bring this guitar. That's all I have. And
rig rundown.
Got these. I got a pick and I got that. And yeah, I use those guitars for other stuff, but I kind of, it's kind of ridiculous because everyone I talk to, they all have all these amps and different guitars, and I mean, I probably should have that, right? I don't even know.
Do you still have the bass out on your balcony?
I went to Guitar Center today because I would like to have another guitar for some other stuff that I need to do, and another foot processor, so I keep switching stuff around. But it's such crap. It's like everything is just terrible, and it's super expensive, like $2,000-$3,000 for these guitars, and I pick them up and they're horrible. This one plays really good, but just look at it. I mean, it's bright. It's like for one thing, you don't want to show up to a Beatles gig with that. So I don't know. I need gear. I need some more gear. So anyone wants to send it over.
Someone says Johnny has two. I believe he has one. He sold the other one.
I did sell the other one, and I have one more. That's the original of all three of those, and it's in Chicago because I didn't want to bring it here if I didn't have to.
Gotcha.
So I'm really just using that one guitar for that tuning, and the rest I'm just kind of switching around. But I do need another guitar, and I do need better tones for some of the local stuff.
Okay, I'm going to speed through some of these. Do you believe this, Johnny? Hello America says Donnie V bartends in a fancy grocery store in Des Plaines, Illinois called Mariano's. You believe that?
I know Mariano's.
Do you think Donnie V could actually bartend?
No,
I don't believe it either.
I mean, I'm sure you'd have to. You mean like to work for a place where you got to get up and go there every day? No.
I think he may tend the bar by sitting there and having a drink. Chris Topolinsky, thank you for being a member, and thank you for the super chat. Johnny and you are real assets to Steven's band. I appreciate that. I believe that I'm an asset to the business, but Johnny is definitely performing. He's definitely the premier lead guitar player out there. Okay. Indie Cult, thank you so much. Jason, did you ever meet Joey or Tommy Ramone? Yeah, I met Joey Ramone several times. I didn't know him as well. I knew Johnny Ramone well and was with him a week before he passed. I knew Dee Dee well, was with him 3 days before he passed. I had nothing to do with it. Tommy, I met a couple times in New York. I'm glad I got to. And Joey, yeah, I met a bunch of times. He had OCD, and growing up in New York, you would see him outside his building, retracing his steps and touching things or brushing his hair in the mirror of his lobby. He would do that constantly. Any day of the week, you wanted to see Joey Ramone. You just went to his apartment building. Kind of crazy. The question: did I have a pink straightening iron in my cabin? Yes. Yes, I did. Somebody talking about massages. They want to buy Johnny a massage in Thailand.
Hilarious.
Play Vanessa a love song. Someone mentioned that Johnny has to pack his toilet paper as well. That is true. That keeps the neck safe.
Wow.
And it's 2-ply.
That's right.
Yes, Denise is not wanting to go to bed. Not wanting to go to bed in your bed. I totally get it. Oh, okay. Well, still 200 people watching. In 10 minutes, we got to get out of here. Johnny has no sponsorship. Well, Johnny is not an alcoholic, so he doesn't need a sponsor right now. But if he did, Mark Hendler from Great White is very good. Johnny does endorse a lot of products. Johnny and I both endorse a thing called fuck. What are those glasses we wear?
We wear spectacle eyewear.
Right. So here's the thing. If Mr. Spectacle is watching, I lost mine. I was such a mess on that trip, Johnny. I switched to a new suitcase, and I don't know where anything is, and I can't find them. And I made fun of them, and they finally grew on me. And so now everyone wants a pair of those, the Jason Green signature models. So maybe Spectacle will come
including you.
Yeah, including me. I don't even have a pair anymore.
How did you lose your glasses?
Johnny, who knows? How did I lose my passport? I'm fucking thank God I can handle everybody else's business. I like this guy. Here's a good one. Johnny is a decent player.
Thanks. All right.
Wow. Well, did you have to take the time to comment? Sometimes when people comment things, you should remember before you type it, especially if it's angry or negative or you think you know everything. It just makes you look so small. And you took the time to waste your time acting like you knew something. And I read these comments and I'm just like, boy, they seem like scorned little girls, Johnny. And it's just silly. It's silly. Vincent Gallo has been making that point for years.
I'm trying to get better.
Yeah, a decent player. Do you still have the Jenny Jones guitar? Cecil's asking.
No, that guitar got stolen.
Oh, fuck.
In Chicago. Probably was an inside job, too. We used to play this place called Sidetracked, or no, Side Outs. South Side. Anything on the South Side, you know you're in for some kind of trouble or thievery. In every part of every city, South is always, there's a problem.
Right.
And it was at the club. I had two of those. I had that one, and I think it was black. And they were same guitar, and I would use two of them, and they both got stolen from the venue. So it had to be someone that worked there. I mean, Enough's Enough was like big at that time at that club. So they would like play 2 days, and they would just like take over the whole place and have a whole floor up there where we would hang out, have all of our stuff, and everybody knew everybody. Somebody stole it.
Gotcha. Okay. Sorry to hear that.
Happens.
Larry Moran put on the Monsters crew as Ratt's old manager. He was a tour manager for Ratt. He was also he was like a roadie for Rough Cut, and he paid his dues. And yes, Larry Moran puts on the cruise. Denise says green is my favorite color. Possibly. Have I ever visited Joey Ramone's grave? I have not. I haven't been in that area since he passed. I would like to. Somebody saying you guys should do the couples massage. Well, we weren't invited, or I would. A band should do everything together, but no one invited us. From that. Ron Jeremy would sleep in his apartment lobby. That is correct. I've been there many times and seen it. Let's see. I'm trying to get through these. Now Johnny has to write a song for Vanessa. I think he can just show her one of the old ones and say that she's not gonna fucking know. You think that Vanessa might be sitting around going, that fucking chip lineup is bullshit? I mean, it could be.
No.
What's happening with Riley's LA Guns? Same as always. I mean, they played M3. Interview with Steve Riley is coming very soon, talking about their new album. Prescription sunglasses. Mine are prescription, made by Spectacle. I just lost them. Watch Johnny's solo on Back for More. It's amazing. I agree. Johnny was lighting it up on the Monsters of Rock cruise and in baby blue pants. True. Did you get the massage on the cruise? I saw Stephen and wife got a couples massage. No, I did not. The only massage I'm going for is going to have a happy ending. Terminal Velocity, who kind of asks stupid questions at times. Jordan Ziff is a great player. Why did Piercy dump him? Well, first of all, I don't know anything about it. That lineup of Ratt ended. There are some reasons that I'm not going to get into. I will say that Jordan Ziff has the personality of an eggplant, and that might be oversighting it. For me, the best player to play Ratt songs is a guy named Warren DeMartini, This morning I sent him a message. I texted him and he read it. He did not respond. If I had to pick somebody after that, it would be Johnny Monaco. Jordan Ziff, he's in a band called Crazy, Sexy, Cool. It's a cross-dressing band about songs in high heels, right, Johnny?
Crazy Hot.
Crazy Hot.
No,
yeah.
hot Crazy.
Hot Crazy. Johnny is a fan of Jordan's work.
He's really good.
Yeah,
I think he's a fantastic guitar player. Excellent. Played all those solos perfectly. I can aspire to be like get it that clean.
Yeah. Jason appearing in Steven's YouTube videos looking cool, tall, and FIR and all. Don't know what that means, but thank you. I am tall. Cool is in the eye of the beholder. I believe that I'm also looking fat. Maybe that's what you were trying to say. But I haven't seen Steven's videos. But thank you. Jason, would you manage a Donnie v. Johnny tour? This is a good question, and it's a realistic question. When I had Donnie on the show, I thought about it. Listen, it's very dangerous to get involved with people who have tough track records, including Donnie. He's amazing. He's talented. Would Johnny Monaco and Donnie be great together? 100%. Would they be even better if we can wrangle in Vic Fox? Sure. It'd be closer to what Enough's Enough is supposed to sound like. And I'm sure there's a good bass player there. I think Donnie is very difficult. I like him. I believe that between addiction and also Johnny, he has I'm trying to be polite, but he has sort of mental issues, right?
I don't know.
No, I think he says that, though. I think he said it in my interview. I think he's been medicated. I don't mean it disrespectful. I think he's got a...
Yeah, but who knows?
Yeah.
Everybody could say you're mental, just like an excuse because you know. But he's found another person that he's doing it with. Him and Alex Kane just announced that they're getting the band back together, and they got a few younger kids from Arizona, and so they're going to put all those things together, and they're going to go out and tour, and they're going to go to Australia.
Do you think it'll be good?
I don't know what to expect from that.
I'm curious. Kane, except Life, Sex, and Death.
He originally wasn't Enough's Enough. He wrote a lot of those earlier songs, probably with them. Alex is always a force. He always came up with stuff. He's from Chicago. They kind of grew up together, you know. And then he quit or he got fired or something right before they found Frigo and then got signed. They replaced him with Frigo and they got signed. So he didn't really get a chance to, be part of that whole thing. So over the years, he's done stuff. Anti-Product was really good.
Is he a Frigo kind of player?
No.
It's a different thing he does.
Yeah. Yeah. When Derek came along, it was his own. I mean, he was brought that to the table. I think that was part of why whoever wanted him to be in the band, the management or whoever, because it made sense the way he played. It was he just had his own sound and just, the way it would just go along with the chords, just a heavy guitar player, really good vibrato technique, legato. And he just was really good with that lineup. It just made sense. It clicked. Not saying the other guy didn't, but I mean, for some reason, that's what they were looking for at the time.
Yeah. Okay. That makes sense. I'm trying to get through as many questions as I can in the next few minutes. Brent Wood's interview, it's coming. We spoke again. It'll be here. It's going to take a minute. He's got things going on, and I'm doing so many. How's my sunburn going? Well, you can see it's beginning to peel, and it sucks. It sucks. But what are you going to do? Terminal velocity, I wasn't being negative. He's a decent player. Decent is a stupid compliment. Sometimes it's better not to say anything. He's a decent player. Decent player. Jesus. I mean, who's a bad player? I mean, I can think of a few. But anyway, it's no big deal. Who really cares? One opinion doesn't really matter. It's like people who read one comment and go, oh, shit, this guy said this one's bad. What the fuck do they know? Don't listen to anybody. That's how life will teach you. Keith is saying that Ziff's first video with his band Crazy, Sexy, Cool was not his cup of tea. It is homoerotic. Dave Alex says Johnny kicks ass, nothing against Warren. I agree.
Oh, well, I mean,
We all love Warren, obviously, and we're trying to get him to come home. If you watch today's tour diary, you'll see that. Shanker and Steven were talking original RATT. That's right, I filmed it. And as you know, Michael Shanker was in RATT. I bet you Warren and Shanker shared a little bit of the solos and things, just a hunch. They played, Steven told me they played Lights Out in London, Lights Out.
That's cool.
Yeah, I thought that was cool. Donnie's going with Alex. Canox is great, of course. How long until Great White takes that kid's Heelys away? That's Chris. So Chris is all right. I don't know. The kid's great, though. His name is Brett Carlisle. He's great. Alex played with Richie Ramone. So does Ronnie Simmons from Faster Pussycat. They're Australian.
Okay.
Yeah. I've never seen him play, by the way. Alex is an outside the box player. Lisa Bergen. Always nice to see that there's women who watch this. Who were the people that were rude to you guys on the boat? We would love to know. I made some reference about people not being so nice. I'm not sure that that's true. There was somebody who, I'll tell the story another time, but there was somebody who I got a weird vibe with. He had a really thick accent. He was a little goofy, but I don't want to out the person. Johnny, was there anyone who was rude to us?
I mean, maybe not to our face.
Yeah, I mean, there's probably people who talk shit, but people are jealous over things that are successful. But yes, most people were really polite and supportive and had a great time and watched the show. And the videos can only show you so much. It's when I would take my phone out and record. We did so much that trip. And I also don't like to stick my camera in the face of friends. You know, yes, between Johnny and I, we both know a lot of people who are successful and recognizable, but I just didn't want to do that. Johnny and I had a great talk with Chris Holmes privately, and he said really funny stuff. It was great. And I don't think he would have minded taking it out, but a skateboarder would like to know what shampoo Johnny uses, and that's a good question. What do you recommend, Johnny?
I use Biolage for color treated hair.
Oh, how do you say that again?
Biolage.
Oh, do you have to buy that at a specialty store?
I don't know. It's not high end, but it's better than just the normal stuff.
I'm going to write that down.
I gave a haircut to someone that we met on the boat.
Yeah.
Sebi. Nice guy. He had one length, long, beautiful, red, kind of almost not totally red, but like had red to it. And he never had a haircut, or he hadn't had a cut in like 10 years. And he said he wanted a haircut and he was going to be in Vegas. Mm-hmm. So we met up over at the yeah.
Was he happy with your work?
He said he was. He said it came out good. I just really cut a little bit. I just kind of cleaned it up. But the reason I thought of this is because he washes his hair in apple cider vinegar and baking soda. Then I thought, I could smell it. It smelled like a salad. And then he ties it back, and we were talking about why it might feel thinner. And I'm like, well, two things. One is you're washing your hair with vinegar and baking soda, and also that if you keep it tight, like in a ponytail, it's really bad for the hair, you know. Mm-hmm. Yeah. But people are set in their ways. But he's a really great guy. He's very nice, and his wife was very nice, and they're friends with the mini Kiss golf people, I think.
Not mini Kiss the little people, but the people who run the Kiss mini golf, you say.
That's right.
Yeah. Well, that is good that Johnny is doing that. Good recommendation. I was in an Uber yesterday, and I heard on the news the product Dark and Lovely, which is a relaxer, mainly used by African Americans, but I used it when I was in high school. I used it in high school. I didn't like having curly hair. I wanted to have hair like Sebastian Bach. But
who doesn't?
My people have walked through the desert for so many years that our hair has become curly. So anyway, but I read that I heard in the Uber, Dark and Lovely is being sued for causing cancer. So don't use that. Listen to Johnny. Okay. Thank God Indie Cult has a question about Enough's Enough for Johnny, because we can't get enough. Last Enough. Johnny, do you think Beautiful Things is a great record? Favorite track?
Yeah, I do. I don't know. It's hard to pick one favorite. They're all really, really good. Those songs are great. Because it's more than just a song. He somehow creates a feel. like when you listen to those songs, it just has so much depth to them that you get a feeling more than you're just listening to the music.
It's sometimes hard to remember titles as well, especially when you listen to things of the great.
Yeah, Back from the Blue, Plain Jane. There's so many on there that there's a bunch of good ones.
All right. Well, anyway, Johnny recommends it. Romero is working with Richie Faulkner. I'm assuming you mean Cesar Romero, the Joker, or you mean Ronnie Romero, who is an incredible singer. Jeff Tate interviews Scott Rockenfield. Jeff Tate got his times mixed up, and then all of a sudden we got on hold. I don't know. I'm very supportive of him. We'll see what happens. Stephen Piercy was the best show, hands down, on the boat. That's very nice. I think he was very good, too. What percentage of the Monster Rocks cruise was work-related as opposed to vacation? Randy, it's a good question. I wouldn't call it a vacation. There are elements that, sure, you got to do nicer things. For someone who works, like Johnny Monaco, who plays around in Las Vegas a lot, he has to take off work to do it. For me, I have other things. This YouTube show is a full-time living. Now, I was fortunate to be able to do my tour diaries and do live broadcasts to keep it going. But it's work, and playing the shows and being away from home. It's not a complete vacation. Of course, there were nice things to do and see. Wouldn't you agree?
Oh yeah, that was fun. It was different, you know. I mean, it's somewhere you could spend some time there. I mean, that's if you were not just going crazy and running around and eating ice cream and food every 3 hours. You know, you have to pace yourself. I mean, otherwise, it could be tiring.
Dave Alex would like to know when Stephen is coming back to Texas. Johnny, I sent you the dates today. Did you see Texas on there?
Oh, you did?
Well, it's on your phone. But we've been in Texas a lot. I'm sure we'll be there again. It's a big state, as you know. Thomas Marshall saying it's 3 a.m. there in the UK. Thank you, Thomas. I hope you have a good night. Thank you for watching. I'm going to wrap this up any second. We're over 2 hours. I feel bad. But there's so many people asking questions. I don't want to be a jerk and miss you guys. Has Johnny tried to play Invisible with his loop pedals? I love that song.
That would be a good one for that.
Clay Aiken, right? Desmond Child wrote it. If I were invisible,
no,
I would just. Oh no.
There's a video of that song with me playing live with them. I think from Texas, and I had like red hair. It's on there. If you just Google Enough's Enough Invisible.
That's good to know. Ronnie Simmons was part of Rose Tattoo before rejoining Faster Pussycat. That is correct. He is no longer with Faster Pussycat. I'm still traumatized by the shot of the dude in the banana hammock. It's one of my favorite moments. I tell Johnny, because sometimes when I want to film something, what I do is I act like I'm filming something else like Johnny, and then I get the nut behind him, or two nuts in that case, hanging nuts. And I said, Johnny, go over there. And Johnny said no as he was walking over. Because
that guy popped up in my newsfeed, and evidently he's like been there before. They knew him.
He's kind of famous on the cruise.
Yeah. So, I was going to totally wear that, but I thought maybe it might be a little much. Plus, I kind of started slacking on my workouts about 3 weeks ago.
Yeah. Okay. Is Skunk really involved in the CIA? Yes, you can Google it. He has a badge, and he's got a crazy title. You wouldn't believe it. He's not just a former Doobie brother. Which Doobie you be? All right. Chris, I think you made some valid points on Slim Tender's situation. I hate to seem mean about that. I think that he's troubled, and I think by putting someone on stage who is inebriated 24 hours a day is a dangerous thing to do. What would happen if our beloved Slim Tender slipped and hit his head on a drum? Or what if he did it in past? Or whatever. What if he dies in a hotel room? He has an issue. I will tell you that Tammy Down is clean and sober, and he's doing very well, and he'll be here soon. So anyway, I don't mean anything against Danny Nordell. He's a very nice guy. He did not recognize Johnny until on the way home when Tammy pointed it out. Yeah. Oh, Jesus. Johnny, you all right? Earthquake? Is that Vanessa? Oh.
Keep doing that.
Okay. I'm trying. People talking about Johnny's the biolage, if you will. People agreeing. What type of hair coloring do you, Johnny? What color hair? What do you use in your hair?
Schwarzkopf. I think it's a 3.
Schwarzkopf 3. Okay.
I think. Yeah, I don't like it all dark black, but you know, you can't tell in the light. It's just different. It looks different like this. Then if you go like this, it looks different. And if you go like this, it looks different. And every time I watch these back, I don't watch them anymore. But when I did, I don't like stuff I say, and I don't know.
Well, then it's better not to watch. I don't usually watch either. Sometimes I'll keep it on in the background, but if the audience likes it, it's really all I care about. Joe, did you film anything at the Punk Rock Museum with Fat Mike? Yes, Johnny and I have to edit it. I've been so busy on cruising, but you'll see it soon. Fat Mike was very nice.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to get all these things. I really don't want to leave and have people's questions. Has Donnie ever made a bad record? I would say no, but Johnny knows better than me.
Nope.
He's a talented guy.
This
is a Johnny question. Do you remember seeing Phil Angotti on the video shoot for Beautiful Thing?
Yeah.
Who is that?
Phil and Donnie grew up together. And when Donnie does those like Beatles kind of gigs, he plays with Phil. Phil used to own a guitar shop, like a vintage guitar place in Chicago, like a hip place.
Mm-hmm.
And he was also, back in the day, I think he was part of the Elvis Brothers, which is this guy Graham Elvis, Chicago guys.
Right.
And he also had his own band called The Idea. It's called Power Pop. So him and Donnie blend really good when they sing together. He's really good. He's a good guitar player, knows all the chords, can sing anything. Solid guy. He's not a poser or anything. He's a nice guy. And
is he alive?
Yeah, he lives in Chicago.
Okay, that's good.
He just played recently. If you look it up, I'm sure him and Donnie played a gig in Blue Island together. Whenever they do the Beatles things, it's those two.
Nice.
Because they know so many songs together. I mean, Phil probably knows every Beatle too, and he knows all the parts and the harmonies. Really good. He's a nice guy. We've been friends for a while. I like him.
Did they have Juan Crucier chili on the boat? I did not see any, but Johnny said don't have the fajitas.
Yeah, I got sick on those.
Yeah. Where is Bitsy? Bitsy's sitting across from me. She was sick, and now she's back. She's got 9 lives, and I thank everybody for their nice wishes. And I feed her right before the show, so she'll shut up. But she's a great cat. I'm very lucky. Indie Cult, for all you Johnny Monaco fans, Overrated is a great album. Well, I agree, and you can go to johnnymonaco.com and pick up a copy. He'll sign it for you. He'll ship it to you. You can buy guitar picks. You can find out where he'll be. Johnny is nice enough to do this show with me, and so I want to make sure that you support Johnny as well, and that's how you can do it. So, and Johnny has a funny podcast. It's all on his website. Johnny's got one-stop shopping, johnnymonaco.com. A lot of people have been asking me lately about, can you get a meet and greet with me and Johnny on the road? The answer is just show up, pick us up, and we'll go. We like to hang out with strangers, even if you have one leg and a gas car, a broken down golf cart that goes 10 miles. Johnny and I go out almost every show to meet people, not because we're starved for attention or we want to be recognized.
That's what somebody else was implying.
That's what I heard someone implied. It's ridiculous. To imply that you don't want to be recognized when you're in the entertainment business strikes me as silly. I could be the silly one, but it's great that you guys watch. After 2 hours, there's still over 200 people. Who are we not to come out and hang out? And I like meeting you folks. And I've never really met a jerk who watches this show, or at least in person. And I will tell you that that we're thankful. And it's nice to go see neighborhoods with people. A lot of people have offered to take me to see locations and things like that. I just never want to go to the second location because I heard that's dangerous. Okay. This is the most questions we ever had. Was Faster Pussycat on the boat? Yes, they were. I did not see them. I mean, I talked to them individually. Sometimes they put the top bands at weird times. You just can't see everybody. Oh God, here we go. Terminal velocity. You were
I
way
know.
too tight, Jason. You say I'm asking dumb questions. The engineer was a clown show. You can't take it serious. Ooh, Jesus. You take it serious. Whatever.
Everybody knows everything.
Yeah, everybody's a fucking expert. What is this? I don't know what this means. My boyfriend here, Fred, used to be the drummer for The Idea. I didn't know
Oh, The
Johnny-
Idea. That's the band that I was talking about. That's Phil Angotti's band.
Oh, okay. The Idea. Okay, gotcha. Very
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah, you can look it up. They're really good. It's like power pop kind of, real good. Good songwriting.
Chris, you guys avoided the comedy shows on the boat like the plague. I own all Johnny's solo records. Well, I'm glad you own Johnny's solo records. He has a new one coming soon called She Says You Found Her Soulmate. I don't think we avoided them intentionally, to be honest with you. It's hard to know what's going on all the time.
I didn't realize there was one, and then I guess I would have went to that. I don't know.
I would like to see. I like Reb, and Reb told me that he was going to tell stories. I've heard Reb's stories; they're really funny. He's got a great. So I don't think that he was going to do like, "Boy, I just flew in, and boy, my arm's tired." I think he was going to tell funny stories. So it's overwhelming. Okay, hold on. I'm sorry to Johnny. I know you want to go. But geez, I don't want to let the crowd down. Rumi, who I've never seen before, Rumy. Who was the best songwriter in rap? That's a great question. That's so tough. It's really, they all wrote different things. I would lean towards Stephen Pearcy because he wrote the lyrics that you sing, and he was playing guitar in the early records as well as Robin Crosby, who was a great songwriter. Juan wrote some great songs, I think more in the later stuff. And Warren DeMartini wrote some great stuff. If you watch the video where Warren talks about how they wrote Round and Round. So I'm going to go with Steven. He really created that band, and we're singing his words every day. But I don't think you can go wrong. I don't think Bobby Blotzer wrote very, very much. But he did write a little bit. I think that they wanted to give him some titles. Bo Hill was probably involved in that sound as well. Okay, you guys are fun. Well, thank you. Jason, we love your chats with Johnny. Johnny is a doll. I enjoy your show. I'm late. I only dipped out for a few minutes because Reb is a great player. Finally, something Terminal and I agree on. I hope it's not Terminal. Johnny's record is like Chinese democracy, a bit. Robin King is an excellent writer. Yes, the King. Somebody says F. Bobby Blotzer. I prefer not to be negative. Well, would you ever interview Blotzer even after all the bullshit from the tour? I've been thinking about this long and hard lately. Would I interview Bobby Blotzer? The answer is if Bobby Blotzer and I could avoid talking about the personal things that we dealt with and some of the really negative things. Yeah, I think I would interview Bobby Blotzer. You heard it here first. Go tell him now. If he's not watching, if you're watching, but I don't want to talk about, I don't want to do a thing that's just trying to cash in where it's mean and nasty. I don't want to insult him. But I would talk about his involvement with RATT. I would talk about what he wants to do now, how he feels about a reunion. And so if that is something he wanted to do, I would do it. And I tell you, hating people is a lame thing to have in your life. Johnny knows because Johnny loves everybody. It's some people, it's just not worth hating. Okay. Would I ever bring back the Sin City Rejects Indie Cult? Good question. Thank you so much. I would like to. I'd like to do it a little differently. I'd like to play a night of Dolls and Ramones and some of the stuff that I like. I would like to have Johnny play some of those songs, Johnny Thunders and things. I think it would be great. And so that could happen. I'd like to find a charity and a nice venue to do it. I'm not looking to go out and play every weekend ever again. Okay. Terminal velocity. Oh, don't be negative, Jason. Leave Blotz alone. Hold on. Let me just.
The thing about this negativity thing, we've talked about this before over and over again. It's kind of like an excuse. You can't just because you call something like it is, or you give your opinion, or you say something. If it's not like goes along with what they're saying, and usually it's an angle. Or if it's even the slightest bit like critical, you're automatically a negative person, and it's ridiculous. It's kind of like a way that they're just, if they don't have the together enough or something, they got to like lash out, and they just go right to your negative to have an excuse for whatever it is they're lacking.
Yeah, I think that's a good point. I did put Terminal in a 5-minute timeout because he was getting stupid. I didn't say anything negative about Blotzer. In fact, I said I'd have him on the show. If you knew the exchanges that him and I had and how bad they were, I think that's a pretty positive thing. Question, how about Juan? Would I have Juan on the show? Sure. I don't think he would do it. Has Juan been invited to the reunion? I don't like to talk about RATT's business because I'm not really involved in it right now. I don't know what those guys think of Juan. If I was betting, I would say that they're not all thrilled, but look, I'm not the one to say that. Interviews a person you won't out on the show want to know who's bashing you. Well, no one really bashed me. Sometimes people are just naive, and a lot of people like to act like they don't know me when they damn well do. I see it all the time. They act like they don't know me, and then they go, so in that interview where you talk to
I get that too.
It happens. They act like they don't know who Johnny is, and then they remind him of a gig they saw him play. Mm-hmm. It's a move that people use to act like they're better than you.
Yeah, it's a self-steer, and it's gaslighting.
That's right. That is 100% correct.
And on top of all those things, they're complete idiots.
In most cases, yes. So anyway, that's the truth. And it's annoying when you find people try to act like they don't know you when they do. I'm never rude to people that even if I not a fan, if someone's polite, they're polite. Who cares? We don't have to all like everything. We try to have fun. It's been 2 hours, 21 minutes. Johnny, have you had your dinner yet?
No. I mean, I got to figure it out because now it's getting late. Everything closes.
Yeah, it's true. Well, it's not that late, is it? Well, it's late.
But out here, they close. Everything closes up early.
And we're in Vegas, which is supposed to be a 24-hour.
It's really crazy.
After the pandemic, businesses realized they could save money. I will say the other night, Johnny recommended a taco place to me. Johnny, do you know that's what I was going to talk about?
Yeah, well, I mean, I guess I would assume I heard the beginning part.
Johnny goes, I know this place. I pass it by it all the time. It's in Town Square. I thought in Town Square. I love Town Square. Town Square looks like Puerto Plata. And no, it wasn't in Town Square. It was across the street from Town Square. It was a taco restaurant. Oz Fox, by the way, took John and I to tacos last week. And he had tongue. We did not. But it was nice. Yeah, we go into this place, and it's a big, giant meat market, literally a meat market. And I'm reading the menu. They don't have chicken tacos. They don't have veggie tacos. They don't have camarones.
But they had other stuff.
But they did have ojos. And they did have cabeza, which is eyes and head. They had tripe, which is stomach intestine. And each window had a different assorted piece of an animal. A piece that you maybe wouldn't.
I didn't know it was going to be like that. It looks normal on the outside. I thought it was going to be, a white, suburban, authentic Mexican restaurant.
And so we went, and I told Johnny, if you want to eat, it's fine. I'll watch you. But Johnny said he thought I was scared that they'd use the knife on the brains on the other things. He's not wrong. I thought they would give me somebody else's order. And so we
had to walk around. We had to turn around and leave. And they're all looking at us like
gringos.
Yeah. They didn't see anything on the menu they liked. Get out of my...
Maybe they do not like the cow asshole,
Look at these two jagoffs. They don't want to eat the eyes. I didn't know it was going to be like that. I wasn't going to get that anyways. I was going to get steak tacos, but,
Johnny,
we ended up going somewhere else.
Is Vanessa in the balcony over your head?
Yeah. I don't know. Maybe. You can't see here because you can't get over the edge.
Right.
I don't even like being near the edge. Even just to do that, my legs get a little weird. I'm trying to overcome it. The problem is your body realizes that all you have to do is take 3 steps to the left and you end your life in a grueling, horrible way.
And all the way down, you'll be pissed.
well, you'd be terrified. Just thinking about it freaks me out. I don't know why I live in a high rise.
If you,
Jeez.
but maybe you could do like a West Side Story. Vanessa.
I'm not doing that.
She would pop her head out the window. In West Side Story, it's funny how the guy yells through the streets, Maria, Maria, and only one woman opens the window.
Yeah, well,
in this day and age, that wouldn't happen.
Yeah, keep it down.
They throw boiling water on you.
She's not up here, asshole.
Okay, terminal velocity's back, and he's apologetic, of course. Johnny on the balcony. Can you get Vanessa on the show? Oh God. Okay, I'm trying to get through this.
So I did sell a CD today to a viewer.
Oh, nice.
I prefer viewer. Some people will refer to them as watchers, but to me, that gets a little sci-fi. That term, and it's a very nice person. And I'm going to send Mark Sanchez his picks at the same time in his CD because if we remember a month ago, he bought me my looper pedal, and I still owe him for that. So I'm sending him some stuff, but it's been, we've been going crazy here. So I'm going to send both of those out tomorrow. I'm going to do it tomorrow. So if you guys are listening, I'm sending Sanchez yours, and Jimmy, you're getting yours too.
Johnny, Indie Cult wants people to know that he signed your CD and some pics for his wife, and that he's a good dude. Maybe John and I will go to the post office tomorrow because I have to sign some pictures for everybody and send some pics so that I'm usually behind. Michelle helps me with anything that involves the brain. So yes, John and I we passed on the
unless it's dinner.
Yes, true. And we passed on the cow intestine, and we had a very lovely romantic dinner at a place Brio. We had an Italian meal. We sat outside. It was beautiful. A prostitute may or may not have walked by us a few times, but we shared a Caesar salad, right, Johnny?
Yeah, well, initially you didn't want to, but then when it came, you realized how good it looked.
Well, also I realized it was a lot of food,
and we split that. Yeah, it's a little gay. But, I mean, we sit outside.
What's wrong with that, Johnny?
You could sit outside. It's like a little village, and the people are all in their areas, and cars are driving by, and there's window shopping, and it's a quaint little area. I'd go back tonight, but I don't think I should be eating $40 bolognese dinners every night.
I know a place, Johnny. We could go right now if it's not too late. Batista's Hole in the Wall.
It's too late for that.
We get espresso. We get pasta. Mark Sanchez is already booking the reservation.
I can't keep listening to you with that because I'm going to get fat.
And
I was
Johnny,
doing good for a while.
The other night you had a bolagnese.
Yeah.
John, you can see your address.
Oh, sorry.
What
are they going to
do? True. They'll never get past the Haitian security guards.
I do have a security team that works here.
But Johnny had the bolognese, and I had sausage penne arrabbiata.
Yeah, it looked good.
It was great. Anyway, so okay, folks, we got to wrap up here because Johnny needs to eat. What are you reading about there?
This is my condo sends out a newsletter, and this is the winner of the month or get to know them of the month. This is the security guard, the new one.
Do you know him?
No, but I just know that he drives a Prius, but that makes no sound. And at nighttime, when that's creeping around in that, and the finish is a doll finish, which is like a pimped out version of it. So this blacked out black car comes creeping around, and all of a sudden I'm like, oh, it scares the shit out of me every time. And now I got to be like, hey, how are you? And then they give you this. It was like Green Mile. Hello.
That's it looks like Sugar Ray Leonard, John. Is that Sugar Ray Leonard?
I would think this is who you would call the security on. But,
yes, I get it. Well, that's Johnny. That's why they hire people to blend in with the element, so that you don't know. You hire a bank robber to catch the bank robber.
But maybe. I just know that I say hi. I don't think we need security. First of all, who's breaking in here? That's Las Vegas Boulevard.
They use grappling tools, Johnny. They will grapple right up to your window.
You'd have to walk all the way across this. And then look at this guy on his motorcycle. He always parks over there. And then you'd have to get somehow into this community, which has a locked front and there's a locked part in the back.
Johnny, I wish I had all that. I wish I had security. I mean, I have a gate. You've seen it. It's very scary out here. I have a bigger. I need more square footage.
There's no. And then once you get in, then you got to get in to the garage. That's hard. Then through that, there's other doors. Then you got to get in the elevator. And the elevator only lets you up to your floor if you have your fob. Then I got this huge door that has a big door. I mean, it's nice. It's big. It's heavy. So then you got to somehow get into this, and then you got to hide under my bed. I mean, at least that's where I checked that still. And who's coming in here? Listen,
Vanessa, is that you?
It's so quiet.
Johnny, I'm the opposite. I'm not going to show people my door. They can just knock on it. It'll fall in. No Music, No Life had a very nice thing to say. He said, enjoyed how Jason's brilliant mind quickly handled and resolved all those comments. No wonder he is a super tour manager. Respect. Thank you. And I thank you for the nice
Well,
words.
that's an awfully nice thing to say. And I'm sure someone else will be mad about that. And they'll come back with some comment.
Yeah. Vanessa found the way in is true. Jason, would you spend a night in the museum where Robert the Doll is located? I have to say, hell no. Forget the doll, the iguanas, and the other creepy shit. It was one of the scariest things I've ever experienced. That and enough's enough. But you can you watch the video this weekend, and okay, I got to wrap it up. But thank you for another super chat. You guys are so great. Great waste of time. Thanks, Jason, Johnny, and everyone. And thank you to William Powell for joining us. It was great to mix it up a little bit. Next week, Sean Clark will be here. Malfunction. We'll talk horror. Right now, we'll talk dinner. Thank you guys for watching. 2.5 hours, still way over 200 people. It's hard to say goodbye, but we will be back very soon. Thank you and good night. Johnny, say good night.
Okay. Good night, everybody.